Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Fitchburg. Thanks. I can speak. Welcome to the Fitchburg Planning Board, Tuesday, November 28th, 2023. Some opening remarks. All meetings of the Fitchburg Planning Board are open to the public. This does not mean that the public participates in all aspects of the meeting. It simply means that the meeting itself, including all discussions and votes, is open for public view. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing, please raise your hand and the board will acknowledge you at the appropriate time during the hearing. The board will also monitor any participants that are attending virtually for questions at the appropriate time. Virtual attendees are asked to use the raise hand function to be acknowledged. 1, state your name and address. 2, approach the center table and either stand or sit. This allows you to be seen and heard clearly by everyone in attendance. 3, the planning board requests that comments be limited to no more than 5 minutes in the interest of time. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording for this meeting for public broadcast, and I ask that anyone in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by stating their name and address. And there being none. Thank you. So, in the order of our agenda this evening, we can take things out of order. We have approval not required plans, minor site plans, public hearings, and other business. I understand that there's probably a lot of people logged in online are very probably interested regarding our underneath other business, which we wouldn't hear till probably like 10 tonight, closer to 10. So I'm going to take it out of order and move that one right up to the front, okay? Line. So underneath other business this evening, we have a large-scale solar facility, Shea Street, for a time extension request for a hearing. This is not open for public comment. This is just for board review. There is a request just from the applicant to for a notice for an extension of time in order for us to hold the hearing and open it for the public.
Just so the public understands what we're doing, if we don't do this, projects like this can be constructively approved. So it's just a procedural matter that just says they're not ready yet, we're not ready yet. I don't know, Chantel, if you want to give an update with what's going on right now.
In regards to this project, the city engineers have requested that the planning board seek peer review, an engineering firm outside of the city to review the newly revised plans that were submitted by the applicant, and that is underway at this time.
So before us this evening, we have an extension for time for, I believe it's for up to 90 days for us to hold a hearing during that time frame. So it's going to be going out for third-party review of the materials, and when those materials come back, then we will schedule the hearing. And then that's when the hearing's scheduled, notice will go out for 14 days. It'll be in the newspaper for 2 weeks, as well for advertising, and materials which should be available for public view for the hearing date.
Just to be clear, we're not taking a vote. We don't usually vote on this. Chantel's just going to sign it, correct? We never vote on extensions. Because we haven't opened it yet.
We haven't even opened the hearing on
so
this yet for the board.
This is an FYI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers some questions about why it's on our agenda this evening. It's because we're just rescheduling. It's just holding for when we can actually hold the hearing.
We're waiting on the review and everything else. If anyone wants to see the plans, if anyone wants to see the plans, I'm sure you can contact Chantel and she can forward them along. We got them within the last week or so, I think. So.
Just within the last week,
yeah.
Yes.
So it's all very recent, but.
Mm-hmm.
That's why there is nothing uploaded to the website. Once we actually schedule the hearing, materials will then be uploaded to the document center for that. All right. That being said, we're going to move on to back to our approval not required plans, for which there is some type of approval required, but A&R for 76 Mount Vernon Street for a lot split and conveyance of a non-buildable lot, parcel A, 1,383 square feet, conveyed to 70 to 80 Mount Vernon Street, and parcel B, 2,948 square feet, conveyed to 71 Mount Vernon Street. Is there an applicant here this evening for that, and do we have the actually Mylar and?
It's ready to be signed.
All ready to be signed.
It's pretty straightforward. If anyone's looking at the plan that I have up on the screen, Was this one of your
Yours?
office? Do you want to take a crack at it, or?
So I'm here to answer any questions if you
All
have any.
right.
Haley Ward did prepare the plan, so but
Does any board member have any plan on this? We need four, it's
looks good.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It's stamped the right way. It has the right endorsements, not buildable lots, as well as the typical standard endorsements. It seems fine to me. Parcel A is going to this parcel, parcel B is going to this parcel, and then there's just a note on there that says existing shed to be moved to conform with side yard offset. Aside from that, pretty straightforward.
all right,
You can lead the way, Paula, if you want.
all right. Pens up there.
Should be.
Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And for the public out there, A&R, though it says approval not required, there's approval not required underneath the subdivision control law. So it's just recording that it's a lot split, but it's not a subdivision in the manner of the subdivision control law subject to.
Good to go.
All right. Plan 1. The second plan underneath A&R tonight is one for 129 Butterick Ave for lot split, creating a 24,060 square foot buildable lot in the RA district, submitted by 1520 LLC. Good evening.
Good evening. We're here before you tonight to separate the existing 129 Buttrick Ave lot into two lots. Lot 1 will contain effectively the existing single-family home on the property, and the other lot will be created for a new single-family dwelling eventually. Frontage for Lot 2 is provided off of Pearl Street, and we're providing about 0.55 acres, and you need about 12,500 square feet for this district.
Will the, I know the frontage is on Pearl Street. Is the access also going to be on Pearl Street?
That's to be determined. There is a bit of topography between the two sites, or two roadways, if you will. So we gave them a little bit more flexibility for the driveway to make it safer getting off and on the road. So that is still in the works to be determined.
All right. So on the lot, they can access the buildable portion of the lot, and they have the requisite lot frontage, which we're looking at for A&R.
Yep, looks good.
So anybody have any questions on the board? No? All right. Fine.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Oh, Lynn and Amanda, do you want to sign them?
Okay.
Fantastic, thank you. So under the next segment of our process this evening, we have minor site plans, and we have one for 56 Cully Street, proposed use of an existing 2,400 square foot building for auto body repair shop in the neighborhood business district. This is following a ZBA special permit decision. Is there anyone here this evening to present? Yes. Please come to the podium, or you can sit at the table, whichever you're most comfortable, and to the microphone.
How are you?
Good evening. Hi. So I understand you've been to the ZBA for your special permit for the use in this area, and you also did a lot of improvements regarding the Zoning Board of Appeals decision. And you're in front of us this evening to do the final permit, which is a site plan review. I think specifically, and I'll bring this up, is for the looking at the parking aspect of it. I think the ZBA decision had talked about the fencing and the dumpster enclosure and also painting of the building and pavement, and those all appear to be completed.
Mm-hmm.
And so it looks like you're here this evening in order to get approval for the 5 parking spaces on the interior beyond the fence.
Yes.
Okay. As marked. I did drive by the facility yesterday. I couldn't really see where the parking spaces were behind because of the fencing, but everything looks to be done from what the ZBA had outlined on their decision. Piece of that. What the board usually looks at, we look at the same thing, so we're looking at the fencing and the dumpster and the parking aspect. So does the board have any questions, any members regarding the parking spaces as outlined?
Yeah, so I was just wondering if you could just clarify something with me. So this was the updated plans that we received. So this is Cully Street, which it shows parking spaces here, but if you look at the actual site plan, the parking spaces are off to the side. And the reason why I say that, and I don't know if the ZBA mentioned this, our city code doesn't allow commercial properties to back out into the street. So there can't be parking spaces in front of the building. That the site plan, that plan is fine.
No, I know. The guy who paint the lines make a mistake there.
Okay.
So the parking is going to be inside the fence.
Fence.
Nothing
Okay.
can be parking outside the
So
fence.
not approving, because that doesn't even meet the dimensional requirements.
Right. What I want to make clear is the parking that's shown on the actual site plan, which is what we're going to approve, this plan, it seems adequate to me. We can talk about those back parking spaces, but it seems adequate to me. I just want to make it clear that you cannot park cars in front of the building,
Yeah,
okay?
we have that clear.
Cannot park cars in front of the building. Okay. That's the only thing that came to mind. Everything else, I've watched the ZBA meetings. You guys have done a lot in front of them. If you're compliant there, they covered a lot of the other site stuff. So like Paula said, parking is my principal concern here.
I appreciate it.
All right. So this is the plan we'll be looking to approve, not the prior, the one
Correct.
that showed up with the spaces in front of the building.
Yep.
This is to the side, and it's beyond, behind the fenced-in area
Mm-hmm.
at this point in time. I guess, as long as the parking spaces meet the dimensional requirements inside the fenced area, I don't see an issue
Yeah, they're even stamped 18 by 9
on it.
on the plan. And this is a Haley Ward plan, so I trust that they did them correctly, so. Yep. I know we saw them, and I know I've read them before, but just to help me not look it up, did the ZBA tell you to put the dumpster there? Did they do anything about the dumpster?
The location of the dumpster is going to be right straight from where you open the fence against the building in the end.
Okay,
But we don't put it yet because we want to start working.
that's fine.
Whenever you guys say thumbs up, we go for the dumpster.
yeah, I know, because the building, the distance between the building and the hill, there's not much behind the building you use, right?
No,
Because it goes
behind the
straight up.
building is like maybe 15 feet you can walk away. It's a sidewalk. We build a sidewalk just to be clean and clear.
Yeah, we understand there seems to be, trash seems to gravitate towards the hillside.
We have a couple mattresses there, which one they are no us, it's from the buildings behind. So I promised to the CBA we're going to remove it and we're going to take a video. If another again happens, believe me, for an auto repair garage, no mattress can come out.
Yeah,
For the buildings behind, yes.
Put some
They
cameras
say,
there and-
we got to go to the Board of Health and see what happens.
Yep.
Okay. Good. Yeah, so, but keeping up with it and, keeping it, the trash off of it as much best you can.
I owned that place before for 15, 18 years, and trust me, I be dealing with those people behind me forever.
Okay. Does any board member have anything? I guess we just have, specifically just no parking cars in front of the building and just keep the hillside clear.
And we'll do what the ZBA does for us. We'll just say that the permits, they're subject to their permit conditions.
Yep. And,
Yep.
yep,
You guys have done
Integrate
a
the-
good job. Keep it up.
yep.
Thank you.
ZBA conditions. All right. Anybody like to make a motion?
Make a motion, this isn't a public hearing, right?
Correct, it is not a hearing.
Make a motion to approve the minor site plan for 56 Cully Street, subject to the conditions Paula had just noted.
Second.
A motion's been made with a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say oppose, and we'll do roll call vote. Alin?
Aye.
Alex? Oh, no.
Aye.
Alex. Oh, there's Alex. Thank you. Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And you can be in touch with Chantel about whatever decision or anything you
So we can
specifically
start
need.
working. Thank you.
I would say talk to Chantel in the building. We have an interim building commissioner, so you'll have to figure out if you need to wait. I don't know if you need to wait for the permit to be drawn up, but between the two of them, I'm sure they can get an answer for you. Just contact someone at City Hall.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck to you.
I appreciate everything.
Thank you, sir.
I like the way you work.
Well, the ZBA did all the lifting on this
Yeah, we had to cover a lot less because you spent so much time with them.
already.
City Clear, where we go?
Well, I got to write this decision, and then I'll notify you. It won't be a long one, so you should.
So we're into the hearing segment of our meeting this evening, for which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And our first up is a special permit and site plan review for IVJ Group LLC, proposed multifamily of 65 units in the Adaptive Industrial District, located at 87, 89, and 91 River Street, which is our former Ivor Johnson Mills. This continued from our last meeting in October.
And just let me know what you want me to pull up, if anything. I can just pull up the generic site plan if you have nothing in specific.
I think most of the things that we're going to touch upon are going to be on the layout plan, C1.00, which is like the third sheet in. Fourth sheet in.
What number did you say it was?
C100.
See, yeah, right there. All right, let's make this full screen. Yeah, that's good enough.
So good evening. My name is Anthony Cleaves. I'm with Haley Ward, design engineers from the project. Also here tonight, members from the ownership group and members from the architectural team. So just going to update from when we last met. We did have another ZBA meeting, and the ZBA closed the hearing and voted to issue a decision with some conditions. I haven't seen a decision yet, so I don't know if it's quite been drafted and submitted to the clerk as of yet, but if you'd like, I can run through the 4 conditions that were discussed. I may not have it word for word, but what they discussed to add for conditions is the windows of Building 91, which is the building that fronts on River Street, the building on the bottom of the page, that the windows that face River Street must be historic. And as I think we've discussed before, the intent of this project is to go for historic tax credits. So that is the intent, but I think what they wanted to make sure is if for some reason that wasn't what happened, to make sure that those windows facing River Street remain in a historic character. Chain link fence along the street, which would be Knottkeg Street, must be replaced with black metal fence, and we spoke about that too, having that match the city standard that exists on River Street. The sidewalk along Knottkeg Street must be removed and replaced, and the granite curbing to be reset. Again, that was something we discussed with your board as well. And then that updated easement documents be submitted to the city for review prior to recording. Again, I think a similar thing that this board had mentioned. And so, based on comments from the ZBA and comments from the planning board at the last hearing and site walk, we did update our plans to try and address hopefully all of the comments that were discussed before. And again, most of the notations end up on this plan C100. So I'll just quickly run through the updates. One is between the existing building of Kelly Wood Products, which is the building all the way to the top of the page, and our third building, there was comments from the fire department that they'd like a little wider area for their fire trucks. And in discussion with them, we said we'd like to try and minimize our impervious surface. And so they were amenable for us to provide reinforced turf. And so we've showed some hatching areas on the north side, which is the top of the page side of the pavement, to get a 16-foot width for them, which is what we had discussed with the fire department previously. So that was to address one of their comments. To the left of the page, we designated some future EV parking spaces, which is all the way to the left in the long parking lot. It's kind of a hatched area there.
Okay.
We added a fence at the end of the courtyard space, which is between 2 of the buildings. Again, I think we talked about that, so it's after further consideration and some input at the Economic Task Force meeting, thought it'd be good to provide some security there. So adding a fence between the 2 buildings. As you come in off of Knottkeg Street, top left, added a notation for the removal of trees that kind of exist in that landscape area there. And the note says, actually that's in the landscape plan, but we noted to have the trees and overgrowth removed in that area. And also in that same area, a notation to add a directional sign, a proposed directional sign noting Kelly Wood Products and IVJ Apartments. Again, that was discussion with this board.
Just in case you want a visualization.
Yep.
I had the photo from the other time, if anyone's curious. This is the corner we were talking about.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Anthony, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So it's the note on the removal of the trees and overgrowth is on the landscape plan. If you're hunting and pecking for that, that's more towards the end of the set. In regards to the metal staircase that exists on Building 87, we updated the note to that to say metal staircase to be cleaned and repainted or removed. Mm-hmm. And so reason for that is, I think ideally we'd like to have that removed. It really serves no purpose. We're not using it for emergency fire access. Not sure if it's going to be allowed to be removed, if through the historic preservation, if it's required to stay or not. So we tried to cover it so that if it does stay, to adhere to the wishes of making that look nice. But ideally, we'd love for it to come down.
Yeah, either way is fine. I did have one question, and it's just clarification. You have metal staircase to be cleaned and repainted or removed, and then under it, it says metal staircase to remain. That one probably can just get scrapped. That's fine.
yeah,
It's
no, it's a
not
good
important.
point.
I just want to make sure we're talking about, it's not two different staircases,
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one there. Yeah,
That's fine.
That's a good point, yeah.
No problem.
Remove and replace the existing concrete sidewalk and remove and reset granite curbing along Knockegg Street. So on this same layout plan, to the left-hand side, you'll see some various notes, actually in the layout of Knockegg Street. So we're putting it right on the plan, that notation, to take care of that work. Remove and replace the Knockegg chain link fence, matching the city standard that exists along River Street. Again, memorializing it right on this plan. And then also on this plan, we've designated the 2 parking spaces on the right-hand side of the plan where there's 1 handicap space adjacent to it. So we had those 3 that are nestled between the buildings that were a focus of discussion last time about backing into that space. We're proposing to designate those as loading spaces. Thought there being wouldn't be used as much. It would be a designated loading space. And that typically if you're going to be loading, you're probably going to back into those spaces to load and unload your cars, which may help have people facing forward be easier exiting there. So we thought that was a way to address the loading space discussion we had on where we might have that, but also try and address some of that concern about backing into that area.
Good idea.
And then we added notes in the landscape plan, which is towards the very end. It's like 3 sheets to the back. It's just a notation, and we showed some proposed low-growth plantings along the front of the River Street building. Yep. So we put a note just above that, and what the note says is proposed low-growth plantings arranged to minimize obstruction of windows. We didn't want them to be put right in the way, or one for so you can look out the windows. But I know the fire department was also concerned about access to the windows.
But it gives some interest behind, it's behind the black fence that's there now between the
Yep.
buildings. Okay.
Yep.
And it's going to be stone, right? Be around it?
So there's stone drip edges
Yep.
along the building, and along those plantings could be stone or mulch or right in the grass.
Well, okay. I only said that
Within a
because I
certain
thought there was
distance,
no
you're not supposed to have
Yeah, it doesn't
mulch
have
from the
anymore.
building. That's why I said that, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, stone or grass is fine. Yep. And mulch is fine too if it's fine fire.
That within that certain distance.
Doesn't matter to us.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't be stone up to the fence, up to the sidewalk.
No. It's not stone all the way to the fence. No, it's just
It's just along the
around the
drip edge.
planting areas, something like that, some kind of a bed. Again, if it's within a certain distance, we can't have mulch anymore for fire reasons. But
Right, and if it's not mulch, it would have to be decorative stone. You don't do grass around plantings. Anyway, it's fine. Let them figure it out. I'm not worried. If it's decorative stone, I'm not worried either. I know you are, but
I like stone.
yes, I do too.
Just not all stone. That's the ordinance
Yeah.
stipulates grass for the most part, and then with plantings.
And that was all of the updates that we had. Hopefully, I think it addressed much, if not all, of the comments we've had.
Pets.
Yep, so I think that we have a discussion on that, and as it stands at this point, they're not planning on allowing pets.
Well, that would be it's like either you have to provide a relief, like provide an area, or you would have to say that there'd be no pets. That'd be in the decision.
The one problem with that in talking to other developers is
Change their mind, and some of them
even if
can't.
you say no pets, you have to allow service animals, you have to allow emotional support animals. Just realistically, all we need here is just somewhere on, basically, where you have your snow storage area on the far side, mark an area, pet relief area. The point for that is if we have people that live here we have issues on sidewalks or on streets of dogs relieving themselves on neighbors' properties, we could say, no, this is where you have to go. So you could just, and it doesn't have to be a particularly large area, but if, near those 2 landscape trees on that Knockegg Street entrance, probably, or, I don't know if you want to have it somewhere in the courtyard or somewhere in the courtyard. But Just designate a spot, just in case. And if you guys don't have any, great, you don't have to worry about it. It's just shown on a plan. If you do, you'll have to put signage out that, just a stake, sign, pet relief area or whatever.
Units. Let's see. You're still working on what the elevations probably, windows, you're still working out through the historical.
Oh, like for like final window
Right,
treatments?
because we said we wanted to see particularly, the windows don't encompass the little arch at the top. What are you using for materials for that? For filling it in? So when you get to that component of it.
Yes, to speak to that, we are working through it with the historic application, the finishes. I know that was of particular concern. So a finish was not designated in the application when we looked. So that's being worked through, and it can be submitted before we place any orders.
Okay, so we can put that as a condition to review that when you get closer to that.
One quick question on the windows, if you don't mind. At the beginning of the presentation, you mentioned that the windows facing River Street were going to be historic looking because of the historic tax credits?
So that was a condition that the ZBA put on their permit.
Okay.
That was a condition that they mentioned during their hearing. So in their decision, there will be a condition that says that the windows that are facing River Street must remain historic.
Okay.
And I think, so the reason, my impression of that is the reasoning is if we don't go for historic tax credits and we don't need to maintain a historic building, they wanted to make sure that those windows that are street facing do remain historic no matter what the outcome of the historic part of the project is.
My follow-up question was going to be, if those windows on the front facing River Street have to be historic-looking windows, will that theme be carried out throughout the entire complex, or will the other windows be not as historic and not look like the front?
All the windows will be consistent.
Consistent throughout?
Yes. And I think that's one of our board conditions is to, follow with that, keep with the architecture there with the historic nature of the windows, so. That, and you're right about what the, that ZBA condition was if say it expires, there's commission of the credit, that future down the road, they just want to make sure that it's maintained for
No, made sense.
however many decades it goes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to clarify, that the new addition is going to differ slightly, so that will be slightly modernized. There'll be storefront.
Yes, yeah.
The new construction will be different, but the existing building, the doors, the windows, all of that will be consistent with the historic context.
Okay. And as we're still talking about, like, the window aspect, I would put out there last time about at least the window treatments or blinds, at least on the building one there, the first building on Main River Street, that they're going to be professionally maintained by management provided, so that they all look consistent. View.
Yep, I don't think there was any issue with that.
Okay. Yeah, so that would be like the visible ends and the front. You're welcome to do it throughout, but at least has viewed from the street.
I was taking notes on something else. What was that in reference to?
What's that?
What was that in reference to?
Those are the window treatments. Like
Oh, yeah, right, interior window treatments. Yep. For the ones facing us. I remember the conversation.
I just have a question on the 3 parking spots to the right of the building. Is it going to be 3, there's still going to be 1 handicap?
Yes, 2 loading spaces and
And then a
one
handicap.
ADA accessible space, yep.
I do want to commend you and the rest of the team that between the site walk that we did together and the ZBA comments and our comments, that the new plan looks great. I'm excited that we have, at least in my mind, little to do at this point. So,
Thank you.
other than public comment.
Yeah. Does the board have any more questions? And they came back with a lot of updates and.
No, looks great.
Okay. It is up for public comment. If anyone in the audience here or at home, online, please use the raise your hand function. And here, just if you raise your hand, if you would like to come to the podium, and please state your name and address for the record. Fantastic.
Good evening, Andrew Kuchar, Ward 3 City Councilor. First of all, I'd like to thank the architectural team and the team that's putting this together. These buildings have been an eyesore for quite some time, and I have to say I'm looking forward to see this project moving forward, and looking forward to looking at some very nice buildings. And I thank you for taking up the project. Again, I'm very happy to see this happening in my ward. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Do we have any further department comments?
I think we still have the comments that we got from DPW the last time, so
Okay.
that's all.
And it looks like they addressed fire department concern with the easement piece going around by Kelly Wood Products as well, so it's been evaluated by fire.
We've had so many meetings at this point. I've been there for 3 of them that aren't public meetings that I know Nick was had given quite a bit of input. So our standard condition of just satisfying department comments, I would imagine satisfies it. I know that
Is Nick-
Anthony already knows that, they want to be kept in the loop when you get into the condition of what's remaining for sewer and water, and I know you're redoing pretty much everything. But aside from that, just keep them in the loop with all that stuff.
Did you say that they did submit something, or they?
Not new,
Okay.
I don't think. No, just from
it's
before.
pretty much
Everything I'm sure you've seen, months old.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen anything specifically from the DPW, just stuff.
It was just a standard condition that you notify the DPW when you're moving forward with your project to sit down and work out those details.
Right, and, the normal, if you're working within the public way, they have to be bonded
Connection
contractors.
fees, various transparencies. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so, yeah, they're not on here, but we can get, they are on here, I'm sorry. We can go over them quickly.
It's the first one on the table.
What's that?
Keep
It's
scrolling.
the first line on that one. You went right past.
Got it.
Yep, there it is.
Contact water, sewer, engineering department respectively for markings and installation. All work in the city right-of-way to be completed by bonded contractor in good standing. Is the project located within wetland buffer zones, which I'm sure you guys already dealt with? Correct, you dealt with Concom already?
Yeah, we already have their approval.
Perfect. Does the client intend to utilize a soil management plan for site excavation and disposal?
No, it's a clean site now. They took care of all of that soil management that was needed to do, so it's a clean site. Yep.
Good.
Okay.
There's no O&M plan or anything for this project, right? You don't have any there's no detention basin?
No, but there is still an O&M plan,
Okay.
a small
So then,
one. We did that.
I think we mentioned this, O&M plan has to be drafted, presented, and recorded in the registry. So just make sure you do that.
Has to be recorded as part of a permit?
I would say the O&M plan gets recorded as the site, I think you can record just the O&M plan
Right.
in the registry, so that it's evidence that if someone isn't doing something, there's a control mechanism to make sure that, yes, it's public knowledge, and yes, this needs to be done. I'm a little less concerned because these aren't going to be sold individually, so theoretically the developer's going to maintain it. But I do know Nick and I have talked about it recently at length that they need to be recorded. So however you want to do that and however that happens, we can figure that out.
That time frame, time period for when do you think completion? Certainly.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rich Darche. I'm one of 4 partners in this project. Aldo Mezzaferro is here, Greg Moran, and Norm Garapi is another partner that's not here. But this project's been in the works since going back to when Aldo and I first looked at the property in 2017. And we purchased the property in 2018. At that time, we had no idea of the environmental cleanup that was needed to make this property viable as a residential housing project. So that took us a couple of years. Then we got sidetracked with COVID for another couple of years. And unfortunately, what happened with COVID for us and for many developers is the cost of materials has dramatically gone up since our first budget was put together back in 2018. And on top of that, the funding, the interest rates have more than doubled. So right now, we are hopeful to get this project started relatively soon. We still have to go to the building department and continue along all the steps there. We, right now, because of the budget has gone up probably 45% from when we started, we're looking at other options. And I have to say, Senator John Cronin's been a great supporter of us. We've got a call next week with the Housing Department in the state of Massachusetts to talk about potentially additional grant money for the project, because right now the ratios are upside down a bit. We need more equity to support the debt that we need for the project. So and the other option we're potentially looking at, which we mentioned in one of the meetings, is we may be looking at an affordable component. Originally, we weren't. The numbers all worked out, wouldn't have been a problem, but now to try to fill that gap here, we may need an affordable component. So we're working through all that at this point in time. We've talked to a number of banks. If we go affordable, as you may or may not know, it's going to be probably a couple years before we can be successfully awarded affordable tax credits. So ideally, we'd like to start within the next 12 months. I can't tell you whether it's going to be two to 3 years. It may take us in order to put all the pieces together. We're looking down the road at hopefully the financing, the interest rates rolling back a bit. But it's a very challenging time. Rest assured, we're going to get this project done one way or another. And I want to thank Anthony and Christina. They've been a great support for us. And the board, the city of Fitchburg, outstanding support. So we're going to get it done, but it's not going to be in the next 3 months.
No, we understand. We just need to put a date on our decision so it's not open-ended where we...
My suggestion...
So we can do like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, my suggestion is we do a 2-year start date, 4-year end date. That gives some wiggle room. Those aren't concrete. If you get to, especially the end date, if you start in 2 years and it takes you more than 2 years to complete, come back for an extension. Sure. Kind of gives us a large enough window where they don't need to come back too early to do an extension, but if it's long enough where things might change enough in 2 to 4 years where we might have to relook at certain things if that gets to that point.
Great. That would be fantastic.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
2 years start, 4 years.
4 years in completion. Yep.
Thank you for your... All right. Any further public comment? And does the board have any further questions?
Hold on, let me just check online just quickly. All right, I got no one on here. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing if you're ready.
All right. Hearing no further comment. A motion's been made to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed.
Aye.
Aye. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Wasn't paying attention.
Anyone opposed? No.
Lynn was on the ball, though.
I know.
We didn't know. She was on the ball because she said second as we were voting. Amanda said?
Amanda said second.
Oftentimes people confuse us.
Well, we don't usually sit next to each other either. I usually get a Lynn.
Usually doesn't sit here at all.
Exactly, hybrid. Do you want to go over the permit conditions just quickly? We already mentioned them, but just for Chantel's...
Yes, so any discussion point, and this is what we're discussing, is the permit conditions. There's quite a few of them.
I mean, I think like most, just very hopeful that this moves forward sooner rather than later. And I think that the plans worked out great. The new revisions are great. So
we have the 65 units. We have incorporating this, the ZBA points with the windows and as well as the updates to Knockegg Street sidewalks and the
I left all those out because they're all in the plan. I left the fence out.
I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, you can.
Updated easement documents. We'll put a timeline on that. That helps clean up all of the ancient easements there too and just lays out the new easements. Cleaning up of that Knockegg entrance, you're gonna with the directional signage as well. Going to maintain the EV spaces. The metal staircase is going to be either cleaned and repainted or removed. Maintaining of the loading spaces on the easterly side. Provided provision for, like, I'll say, pet relief area designated with signage on site. Windows. Subject to approval of the final elevations for the windows. building. We have and then installation and maintenance of the uniform, like window treatments, particularly on, is it Building 91, the one that's on facing River Street between the ends and the facade facing River Street. Standard condition of the O&M for the stormwater and recording, and we have a 2-year start and 4-year completion. What else?
So I think you got them all. I'll send Chantel what I had. I had them, I wasn't following entirely, but the ones I don't know if you said were excess snow removed from site. Excess snow to be removed from the site. Well, you said present window details, window treatments to be uniform in style, record the O&M plan and maintain in perpetuity, which is the standard permit condition we've had as of late. And then, yeah, you got everything else. I had show, I know you didn't say this specifically, but you meant it. Show the pet relief area on a revised plan. Just change the plan and just send it to Chantel. So we have everything on the plan. And then obviously, you know, once you're done landscaping and everything, there should just be a sign, pet relief area.
Dark sky compliant, and you have enclosed trash areas. Yeah. Lighting, dark sky compliant lighting.
Yeah, that should cover it all as far as I'm concerned.
Fence trash areas. Okay. That being said, anybody have any other? I think we covered everything.
All set?
All right.
Make a motion to approve the special permit and site plan for IVJ Group, 65 units in the Adaptive Industrial District located at 8789 91 River Street, the former Ivor Johnson Mills.
Second that?
I'll second that.
And there's a second. All those, I'm going to take roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. And Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Okay, good luck, guys.
Good,
luck.
thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for your investment in the city.
Thank you.
Right. Next on our agenda for hearings this evening is a site plan review, BOC Fitchburg Trust for a 4,000 square foot industrial storage building, which follows a ZBA special permit for a contractor's yard located at 0 Cobbler Drive. It's also continued from our October meeting.
All right. Ready when you are, Chris.
All righty. For the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering, here on behalf of BOC Fitchburg Trust for the construction of a 4,000 square foot steel structure to be utilized in congruent with a contractor's yard that's currently on the property. Currently, the property has been used as a contractor's yard for several years. The property is located at effectively 0 Cobbler Drive, which is located off of Crawford Street, and it's kind of nooked in between the airport and Blueberry Lane. The property is surrounded by exclusively industrial uses, so the use is very in line with what is currently there. It's the intent of the applicant to construct a new 4,000 square foot structure. Access to the site will be utilize the existing entry point at the intersection of Blueberry and Cobbler Drive. Due to the complex turning maneuvers in this area from the abutting uses, we are proposing to restrict that to an entry point only, no exit point out of there, only because it is quite fun time to get out of there, if you will, on certain times of day. Access will be provided via that entry point. It'll provide a paved entryway to a total of 5 parking spots located along the side of the building. This driveway will extend towards the southerly portion of the property and go out a designated exit point further south of the development itself. We've designed this entryways and the access points to allow for WB67 vehicles, so the largest vehicle you can anticipate to be on the site. The remaining portion of the site will remain in its current state, slightly modified to account for the proposed building and access points. which will include a concrete ramp to an at-grade door, as well as your standard loading door, also facing the southerly side of the building. The area will be laid with regrind pavement, similar to what is there now. It's a hard durable surface, but also limits the overall impact of the impervious area. Water and sewer will be provided via new connections into the mains within Blueberry Lane, Cobbler Drive. Stormwater management will utilize a combination of an infiltration basin with required pre-treatment to provide the adequate recharge on the site, along with a vegetative filter strip along the southerly portion of the site. The site generally drains in a southerly direction to a low point. This helps provide further mitigation of the stormwater as it exits the property as it is now. Additional features will include a new evergreen planting line along the immediate edge of the fence line that's along Cobbler Drive to provide some visual buffer to the property itself. As was previously mentioned, we've been before ZBA and we were granted approval at the last hearing. The only special condition outside the normal realm of everything is that the fence along Cobbler Drive be replaced. Currently it's in a kind of a degraded state. It's just to help clean up the area a little bit more. With that being said, if there's any questions from the board, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
The only thing I had, and it's not a high traffic area, so it's not, I don't think it's exceptionally important, but I'm curious as to why you didn't line up your driveway with the AKS driveway across the street, or whatever property that is directly across the street.
It's just to maximize the amount of usable land space for the actual contractor portion of the property itself. Okay. The site doesn't really see that much traffic. Currently, there is a user on the property. They store effectively giant rubber pipes that are used for various applications for sewer, stormwater, you name it, they do it. So it's a moderately low impact use as it is right now. So the truck traffic is not significant compared to AKS across the street.
Okay. I just usually when you see these, you want driveways to line up. That's why I said that. It doesn't seem like it would get in the way of any use on the site.
Yeah, 90% of the time, that's a factual statement, but just because it's a very low use, even if the current tenant does leave a contractor's yard, doesn't generate significant traffic.
Yep, and that's why I'm not a particular major concern, but something that came to mind when I looked at it.
An observation I had was just that the proposed evergreen line is behind the chain link fence, where it seems all the abutters have all the evergreens in front of the chain link fence on Cobbler Drive.
It's more just for protection so they don't get destroyed by plow trucks and everything else out there.
So it just want the reason, I know it looks like the fence line is like right on the property line with the street?
Yes, that too.
Is it like that too? So even what's proposed here for the green is just like grass to be maintained in the right of way?
Correct. That lighter green shaded area would be effectively just loam and seed grass.
Okay. I don't think
No, given that it's an industrial
given it's in the
zone.
industrial zone, it's not, I'll just say it's not really visible from a major public way. It's just on Cobbler Drive. If it was, next to Crocker Field, it'd be a little different.
Yeah. Aside from that, I'm good.
No. Any board members have any questions or comments? No? Okay. Do we get any feedback from DPW? And is anybody from DPW online tonight?
No.
Nick or Jeff or?
Oh, Nick is now.
Yep, I'm here. Thanks. Jeff has been reviewing these, and he's on vacation today, so he wasn't able to attend the meeting. I assume Chris did a stormwater management plan for the site and a HydroCat report and all of that. I haven't seen it yet. I think Jeff has reviewed it. He said that he was comfortable with what he's reviewed for tonight's meeting, and just the standard conditions would apply. So, contractor to reach out to DPW for water sewer connection permits prior to construction, et cetera.
Okay. And record the stormwater management plan.
The O&M plan.
O&M.
Recorded and maintained.
Property and all that. Just the standard stormwater conditions as well.
Yep. Well, we can even add in there that it's subject to final review of DPW. That way it'll give you a second crack at it. That's fine.
Okay. And good. Thank you, Nick. Is there anybody else in the audience? Virtually, just raise your hand. Physically here, just raise your hand. Right. Okay, no one physically?
No one online.
Nope, and no one online. All right, does the board have enough information this evening?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
A motion's been made to close the hearing with a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the site plan review for BOC Family Trust, 0 Cobbler Drive, subject to the conditions we noted. So it's, subject to department comments, final a DPW review of stormwater, O&M plan to be recorded and maintained in perpetuity, and whatever the ZBA permit conditions are.
Is there a completion?
When start and end?
Ideally, we would like to start in the spring at this point in time.
But within a year and within 2 years?
I would believe that construction would be done within 2 years. It's not a lot of heavy lifting on this one.
Yeah, and it's, the permit conditions are a guideline. That if there's unforeseen, just talking to someone recently, your boss recently, about transformers being insanely difficult to come by. So we'll do that 1 year to start, 2 years to complete.
All right.
I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second and a second?
Already did.
Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say oppose. Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Thanks, Chris.
Great, thank you very much.
All right. Our next hearing is a new one, not continued. It is a special permit and site plan modification for permit 217-6 for SBA Land LLC, which cell tower permit extension request located at 609 Winoosknock Road. This was originally permitted in the year 2000 and has subsequent received extensions for maintenance of that cell tower. We see up on, you travel up Route 2 West. Will they be attending virtually?
Let me see. Well, yep.
Yes.
Greg, you are unmuted. There you go.
All right. Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. I don't know if my camera's supposed to be on or not. It doesn't matter to me as long as you can hear me.
I can promote you to a panelist if you want.
It doesn't matter. I'm good with you not seeing me, or if you want to see me. It's up to you.
That's fine. Whatever you want. If you want to control, the presentation, I will have to promote you, though.
No, it's all right. I think it's a relatively easy, and I can give you just a quick rundown of my presentation. Thank you, everyone. It's Greg Boucher, Saul Ewing on behalf of SBA Communications. I was in front of this board in 2017. The permit came up for renewal a little over a year ago, and I worked with Mr. O'Hara, and he agreed that the permit was extended due to the COVID. There was a COVID statute that came out saying that all permits were on hold and extended during the time of the state of emergency during COVID. And so that was extended to December 11th. I just want to raise a point. It's been nice to work with Chantel Fleck for the past few months. She flagged yesterday that SBA Land, the applicant, was not registered to do business with Massachusetts Secretary of State. It was registered just a few hours ago, and now we're up. And
great.
If you go on this corporation's website, we're there and we are registered. So I'm sorry about that, and thank you for flagging that. We fixed it. We've submitted the application. We're not aware of any issues right now. In the past, there were some runoff issues with water, and a neighbor, Keith Dooling, as well, that we've been working with to make sure that the road and runoff issues. I believe I spoke with Mr. Fontaine and Ms. Fleck back in May. when we learned of the issues, we came and had someone regrade the road, fix everything around it, and we've been monitoring rain events since then, and we believe the road's been holding up very well. We submitted our application. We've included, affidavit from our regional site manager, confirming that everything seems to be going well with the tower. We've got recent structural analysis reports. We've got the proper FAA and RF reports. I submitted with my application a bond continuation certificate showing that we've got a $20,000 tower removal bond. And right now, the current lease holder is SBA Land, which is when we last came in front of your board, SBA Towers 2 held the lease, but there was a new lease that kicked in 2020 for TCO Land. TCO Land changed its name to SBA Land, and now we are SBA Land, who's the leaseholder, and also has this application. The one thing I would ask is that SBA still transfers sometimes their towers within different entities, and this one might also be subject to that. And in the prior decision in 2017, there was a provision that said that we'd be allowed to transfer the permanent holder if it's a related entity within SBA, and I'd ask for that again from the board. I don't have anything else except that I think we've met all the requirements, and it would ask to be extended another 5 years, and obviously open to any questions anyone might have.
Thank you. There was reading through aspect of the lease, it was odd because it's like the lease was dated 2009, but then it said a commencement date for, I think, 24 years beginning in 2020. So it was just odd that it was signed in 2009, but the commencement was 2020. So I was trying to figure out where the end date was. Yeah. That was accurate or not.
That is accurate. I can't say the terms of the compensation, but I think that there was a compensation that was given to the landowner back in 2009 in order to make sure that the lease would continue to run and kick in again in 2020 for additional several more years.
Okay. So it is commencing 24 years from 2020. Okay.
Greg, I have two questions for you. And I don't know how you can get an answer to the first one, but I'm confident you can. Can you prove to us that bond amount is still satisfactory? It's still enough to be able to remove the tower and all equipment and dispose of it?
I can't, but I've gotten this question before from boards, and we can get, we hire sometimes a third party that gives a tower bond estimate, and depending on what that tower removal estimate states, we obviously match whatever that says. So there is a third party entity, a company that does these things that gives you an estimate.
Because that number's 12, 15 years old, so it's got to be different.
I'm sure SBA would be happy to order one. And,
perfect.
And make sure that we provide a bond that's equal to whatever the estimate is.
Yep, that would be great. And the other question I had is tied to the DPW comment. So there's a DPW comment in here that says, has the applicant considered upgrading the drainage crossing at 566 Moosnock Road? The current bridge crossing is steel plates with bituminous asphalt.
I haven't heard this comment before, but I'd be take it back to my team. But I believe the way it's currently set up, and especially with the regrading and everything that we did back in May, we think it's held up pretty well since then. And there have been some big rain events, and I checked in with the team right after those because I know I'd be answering to you if there were any issues.
I do know our DPW team wasn't here when we did this 20 some odd years ago, and Keith, I know, is aware of this, that we probably spent a good 18 months on that exact question over and over and over again. And I will say one thing, it seems to have weathered pretty good. I've been over it 10 or 12 times over the last 6 months. Every time there's rain, I drive up there to see if something's going on. And of course, Keith and I talked at length about the last major issue there. So, unless I'm made aware of a problem with the way it is now, I don't have an issue with it.
Well, the only thing I visibly saw when I went up was the, just the sign before the steel plates on the left about the restriction for the bridge, for the weight over the culvert. Just has some vegetation growth around it that just needs to be removed. So-
Happy to send someone out to do that.
And any further questions from the board? I'm going to open up to the public. Okay. All right, up to the public. Mr. Dooling.
Can you just,
Yeah,
yeah, come,
yeah, yeah,
you can either
come-
sit down or the
Yep, or stand.
I'll stand up. Thank you. Keith Dooling, 566 Winoosknock Road. I'm the abutting neighbor. As you know, on May 1st, we had the road let go due to a backup on Route 2. I know it wasn't their fault, but obviously it washed out their road. Mr. Fontaine was privy to checking it out and helping me out to get the road repaired. But as we spoke, Paul, about the damage to the driveway, to my driveway, to the roadway, he said we would address it at this point and get him to try to fix the road. I have many pictures of cracks and damage that was created by this, if you can take a look at it. I just got the...
Sure.
Yeah, you can pass them. We'll give them to Paul, and then we can pass them around.
the washout of the...
So this was,
The original washout.
so these were photos,
Pictures of the damage.
these were photos, Keith, of that I took the weekend that happened.
Right.
So that's the bridge. And then, I'm sorry, these must have been the repairs.
That's after they repaired it.
Yeah, that's the repair, correct. I got the other ones here somewhere. Hold on one second, just so everyone can see what happened.
What is cracks and damage? I'm not asking to put a whole new road in.
Yeah.
I'm asking them to repair the road, and we discussed that with the gentleman, I think his name was Jamie, someone that repaired the road. So far, the Cell Tower Road has held up pretty decent, but if you look beyond that, you can see, well, you can't even see with that picture, but since then, with the undermining of the water and the trucks, traffic going up and down there, it has created many cracks and fissures in the road. And before the plate, which has been holding up somewhat, there's some damage to the road from the trucks driving off the side of the road. So I was told by Mike Donnelly, who was terrific helping me to get this road repaired, that we would address it at this point, to have them come up and do repairs of the road.
Okay. Greg, is that something with some crack and repair and seal on some areas?
I'm not sure I can agree to anything without having seen it. I mean, I know that SBA's been.
These are kind of close. I'm not sure exactly where
I'm trying
they're
to find
close-up shots, so I can't see the perspective of where you're.
Those are right, if you see where the grade is right there, if you come back another 15, 20 feet where this road meets the top of the driveway, that's part of the damage, and then the other damage is before the plate. Yeah, down there, right by your car there, under all that area right there has all cracked from the extensive.
So this was just so everyone knows, this was the runoff from, this was the runoff from the incident we had back in, whenever it was.
May 1st.
Yeah.
The night of May 1st.
Trying to pull up all.
Yes.
Let me pull up the rest of the photos. Oh, thank you.
And at that point, I talked to the guy repairing the road. He said he agreed that he should, seal the cracks and probably seal it, and he would talk to them, and I talked to Mike and Paul. They said to bring it up at this point.
This is what the road looked like when we had the runoff. So this is basically behind me to the left. Taking this picture would be Keith's house. This is looking up towards the cell tower. This is a better picture. It was quite the runoff. Runoff came, just for those that don't know, they were repaving Route 2. They were clearing out vegetation and stuff.
They weren't maintaining the drainage.
Yeah, and
I actually went up there several times and opened it up myself.
Yeah.
Prior to this and after this, or else it would have been more damage.
We had a relatively big storm, and the runoff came over from that curve on Route 2, came over the side and into this this area. So, I mean, we can look.
I'll just say we can take a look into it and maybe look at it as a potential condition to look at because from the photos, we can't pinpoint it.
Right.
And the applicant can't agree to it till he actually sees it.
Yeah.
So we all want to get on the same page with that.
Yeah, I know they have a facilities guy that does the repairs. He's been pretty decent up there.
And it looks like a lot of these, with the exception of some of the ones like where your foot is, a lot of these could be remedied with seal coating. And
Well, I'm thinking just a crack filling and a seal coating. I'm not asking for
Yeah.
anything like we went 20 years ago through.
Okay.
And
I do think SBA has been pretty reasonable, and I can ask them to look into that and try to work with you, Mr. Doolin.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience?
But that would become a condition, right?
Yes. Maybe look at that. I'm looking at something.
Or Conscom, whatever he is now. He's been up there many times. Mr. Fontaine's been up there many times. So I'd be happy to show him where the damage is.
I think there has been a substantial improvement. Do we have any feedback from the Conservation Commission on what the status is? Or Greg, do you know your status with the Conservation Commission, if there's any further work?
One other thing, if I could
Wait a
say,
second.
I'm
Let me just
sorry.
ask. I'm asking Greg.
We haven't heard anything, so I think no news is good news from the Conservation Commission. They're usually not too shy.
Okay. All right.
One other thing, I think, and if Greg would agree, I believe you should put a condition that the road should be, inspected and maintained. So far, it's been good, and I have been going up to make sure that doesn't happen again. They did clear out the debris. I have some pictures. It was bad up there.
Yeah, and I do think that gets satisfied the way we satisfied in May. If it comes up and it's impassable, we'll make sure it's passable. I mean, Greg will tell you, I called him within a day of talking to you, probably the same day we talked, and they were up there about a week, something like that. So I think that, yes, I agree. The road needs to be, we can certainly just clarify the permit condition that both your road, the end of Winoosoc Road, and the access road to the cell tower remain passable.
Right, and if you look at the picture, some of the damage is before the bridge from trucks kind of veering off of the road, the heavier trucks. Might have been when the mud was there or whatever, if he wants to look at it. I don't think it's a major issue like we had years ago, but it should be repaired. You mind if I get those pictures, or do you want? You can.
Yeah, they're right. I was
keep them
just going to show the rest of the board, but.
So we look at inspect the road annually and maintain passable condition, and also evaluate
Yep.
the road condition, a potential crack, and seal coating, like within the year, next 12 months.
I think, if memory serves, and I know you uploaded the permits, but I'm going to save everyone me reading through them, and because there's so much.
Bring up 2017.
Do you want me to bring up the most recent?
One.
I was only going to say, because I believe there's a permit condition in there that says something to the effect of that bridge section needs to be maintained, but let me look. Yeah, as long as the tower remains in active use, applicant shall maintain steel plates so as to maintain accessibility to the tower site, and shall notify each of its subtenants to inspect the steel plates prior to accessing the tower site, and to notify applicant of deficiencies in the steel plates as soon as possible. Yeah, and so Keith, we already do have, one of the permit condition 3 is the applicant shall maintain a safe and secure site, provide safe, convenient, and adequate access to the site at all times for public safety vehicles and applicable uses. So we do, the permit already says they have to keep it accessible and maintain it.
Accessibility to one person is different than, leaving it how it was before they got there, you know what I mean? If you.
I got it. We'll add a permit condition about, I have something in here about repair damaged sections of roads, potential crack filling, sealing, and/or patching. My point was to the latter, you said maintaining impassable condition, which we have covered, but I'll make sure we clarify some things.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep, we'll just make sure that any update to our, and ordinance conditions are in there. I think there's like the annual requirement to certify you're meeting the communications requirements. Greg, how many subtenants are there on that tower?
I believe we have every major carrier, so it's an important tower to the residents. We've got AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile. And I would again just ask if we can have a similar condition like number 1, if we just go one page up, that it's transferable to a entity related to SBA Communications, please.
Yep. That's fine. Yes. I had wrote it to your affiliates or designees, but we can just, if that's fine, we could just maintain that permit condition. That's not a problem.
Yeah, we'll just update it.
Yep, right, exactly, yep.
Thank you.
And we'll just be looking, getting any update to the bond.
Yeah, so the permit condition is that you maintain a tower removal performance bond. So just the condition of the extension will be to investigate the amount of the reclamation bond and to comply with independent cost estimate.
Yeah, if we could just have maybe 60 days, I think I could get one.
I don't think there's going to be a time limit on our end other than you need to do it. Meaning, it's a permit condition you have to satisfy, but it's not like the permit will become valid before you do that. You just have to do that in order to be in good standing with the permit.
Yeah, you have a current one. We just want an updated one.
Exactly.
Understood. We will.
I think they expire annually, so just making sure you maintain it.
Yeah, we can word that in the permit basically to keep updated annually or.
And then all I have is pretty much the removal of the vegetative growth around the signage.
Mm-hmm. And then Paul, I don't know if you saw when he was talking, I pulled up the.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
Date of registration today.
For doing
Good
that.
job.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hey, you've got attorneys on call.
Let me see.
All right. Any further questions? Do we have any feedback? Anything from departments?
I read the only one, right? That was the only one I saw at
Correct.
DPW.
So we heard from DPW. Okay. And you're still seeking what's the length of time you're seeking?
5 years. 5 years, please. That was the length of the prior one is pretty standard as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fine.
They were 3 years a long time ago, and the more recent ones were 5.
Mm-hmm. It goes a long way that when there was an issue, you were quick to remedy it. And I think that, I know personally I was appreciative that you were not only quick to remedy it, but you were easy to get in touch with. And when I went up there, I thought the remedies looked pretty good. So aside from the stuff Keith had mentioned about, just patching, some damaged pavement where it is, I think that goes a long way in this approval, so.
It's been very responsive.
Yep.
Thank you. It's been great to work with all of you.
So, everybody have enough information?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion's been made to close the hearing who did a second?
Yep.
Is that a Lynn?
Amanda. Right, did I get it right that time? I'm not looking that way, but.
Just for the minutes after 2, so we go like, who?
You can always put me for the second. I'll never deny
Perfect.
I seconded it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Alex?
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay, all those opposed? All right, none opposed, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the special permanent site plan for SBA Land LLC, cell tower permit extension request at 609 Winooskock Road, subject to the SBA looking at the bond amount and complying with an independent cost estimate and updating the bond, and then, like Paul had said, keeping the bond valid whenever it expires. Repair damaged sections of road, which includes the potential for crack filling, sealing, and/or patching damaged sections of road in front of 669 Winusonoc?
566.
566, excuse me. Yep. The paved section after the bridge.
And before the bridge, I'd like to address too.
Okay. We'll have them take a look at the section from just before the bridge on. Cell Tower Road and the end of Winusonoc Road to be maintained in passable condition. If we mirror some of these permit conditions, they're already in there. And the permit, you can, again, mirror permit condition 1 as they requested, and then the permit, this permit to be good for 5 years.
All right, the motion's been made with a second from Tracy. Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy? Aye. Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Greg.
Very welcome.
Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, your photos are.
Well, I know this is a while to get this.
I would imagine it will be spring at this point because you're going to want the weather to be better when you do any pothole repair. But yeah, yeah. Good luck, Keith.
You too.
All right, our next hearing this evening, special permit and site plan review modification, number 2021-9 at 35 Columbus Street LLC. Request for extension for a proposed multifamily of 27 units, might be for 28, in the RC district located at 35 Columbus Street, which is the former St. Joseph School. Is the applicant here this evening? Hello. Either come to the podium or sit in front of the mic.
Sitting's perfect.
There you go.
Do you have any preference as to what's up there? Oh, hold on. I have the images, and I can go through the slides that you have, and if you want anything in specific, you can ask.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jay Quina. I'm Eduardo's brother. Eduardo's the main applicant for the project, although we work together. And so his plane got delayed, and so he's like, hey, can you jump on the meeting? So hopefully I can answer all the questions and run through what we're trying to do up here in Columbus. So this is, we're trying to convert the particular St. Joseph into a modern apartment building. Originally, our understanding is that it's already been pre-permitted. And so when we took over from the owners, we just wanted to do an assessment review, make sure that everything makes sense, also keeping with future-proof and market trends. So we decided that originally, because they had the laundry down in the basement as a community laundry, we decided that perhaps it makes a lot more sense to have the laundries into the actual apartment buildings. I think for convenience-wise, when my wife and I were looking for an apartment, that was one thing that she definitely ticked off. So we're really advocating for that. And because of that, by removing that laundromat at the basement, it allows us to expand to one additional apartment. And that's what we have here. So let me see. If you can go to the next slide. This is just bring outside.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, so just isometric view. Again, we're not touching anything structure-wise. We're keeping as is. We're just doing anything internal. We just redid the interior walls of that just to accommodate for that. Things that pop out, and naturally, we want to make sure that the lower floors have ADA apartments. So that's very important to us. I'm just going to go through some of the items here. Again, the first one that we talked about was the laundry. Just by removing that, putting inside the apartments, all of a sudden now we have that additional one. Parking lot. That was an interesting one because now that they become 2-bedroom apartment, our understanding that the ordinance for Fitchburg is for every 2 bedrooms, it's a 1.5 parking spot.
Do you have the
and
site plan?
That would bring us to 42 spots necessary for code. And we have 43. So we have an additional one there, which hopefully we also would see if we can add some EVs there. Again, keeping with trends and future-proof as much as possible. Everything's going to be electrical. The cool thing is that our company, we are an electrical company, so we want to maximize that side of it so that we can, as the gentleman from the earlier mentioned, there's very expensive to borrow right now. So whatever we can leverage to get this apartment rock and rolling. So we changed it up. Heating and cooling would be mini splits, very standard, and something that we can get rock and rolling immediately.
The site plan's not attached to this. It's not in the Dropbox link unless I'm missing it.
Which part?
I'm talking to our community development.
To show the.
Oh. Chantel, do you know, I don't see the site plan for Columbus Street in the document center. I have narrative, application, tax compliance, the prior decision, transfer and deed, department comments, and then the revised site plan, which is what I thought it was, is just, it's just floor plans.
Okay.
We're not touching anything on the site. It's going to remain as is. The only thing.
Well, you were just talking about parking. Talking about parking needs changing.
Existing parking, correct. Yeah.
So it actually decreases because.
But these were all permitted as one-bedroom units. The original
Yes,
approval
but-
was all one-bedrooms.
Right, but the original approval was based upon our older ordinance for 2 parking spaces per
Okay.
unit, and now it's only with one.
Oh, because it was 2 parking spaces regardless of the number of
Regardless, so they
bedrooms.
have more parking
All right.
with the new recalculation. Is that
Okay.
correct? That's my
That
understanding
is,
of
yeah.
that. Correct.
Brilliant.
Okay.
I'll mention also, if you're looking with mini splits, we don't want to see mini splits on the facade of the building.
Oh, no. These are going to be rooftop. It's going to be mounted on the
Okay.
roof. Yep. No,
All right,
absolutely.
we don't wanna
Yeah,
see mounts.
the values also, because it looks kind of tacky.
Yes.
Kind of area. Yep, absolutely.
It's just like air conditioners hanging out the
Oh,
windows.
absolutely.
That's what, yeah,
No visible condensers.
no.
And
Okay,
again,
yeah.
the reason why I mentioned this is so that we can jumpstart on this as soon as possible. So these are workaround options just for aggregating. So again, because we're an electrical contractor, we're designing that ourselves. So that would be something that we can execute immediately.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as we're abiding by the same site plan we've already approved, then
So this site plan, did it expire, or we're seeking an extension before it expires?
so the permit decision was
Yeah.
2021. So it's stamped December 30th, 2021 was the clerk stamp. So December 30th, 2023. Oh, hold on, let me look at the permit condition.
When did the clerk sign off on it?
Yeah, that is December, that's what I was reading. December 30th, 2021. And I'm just trying to see if we have a date in here, and I don't see one. We actually had 1.5 spaces per unit on the original permit approval anyway, so.
We did,
Yeah.
The number of parking spaces. Let's go through that. These are all one bedrooms?
24 months. So, yeah, so this would be, this would be an extension. Otherwise, it would expire after, we have until after our next planning board meeting.
Okay.
It's the 28th, the 30th of December.
Two spaces per dwelling unit. Parking required.
Does that say 2 on there?
Yeah.
Okay, because our
Total spaces required 54.
permit says maintain minimum on-site parking of 1.5 spaces per unit and requisite handicap spaces. So, either way, there's an excess, I believe. Correct?
Yes. And we've spoken with various about the site plan too. I mean, there is that retaining wall that has to be engineered, right?
Which one?
Retaining wall in the parking area that needs to be,
Okay, yeah, that was discussed. I thought it was already taken.
Okay.
Retaining wall.
that make sure that you're fully aware of that, and then the landscaping around it, and then the decorative fencing around that. And there's also decorative fencing off of the Clarendon Street side too. For fencing, it's not chain link fencing, it's
It's
actually
going to
like,
be neatly.
the black cast aluminum
Yep,
style. Whichever.
so-
We're going to upgrade the aesthetic so it doesn't look like, a chained, playground.
Oh, no, I understand what you mean. Okay, yes, it's going to meet high levels of standard on this one.
So basically,
Or at least special, yeah.
go through all the permit conditions, because everything she's mentioning, I'm reading them as she's saying it.
Sure.
We covered them all in the permit conditions. Just make sure you do them before, you look through them before you start construction and check them off.
Okay.
Because we don't want a situation where you do the wrong thing and then we say, it was right there the whole time and you just didn't read it. I don't know if you noticed, one of the permit conditions is a change of use sewer permit fee. It says 28,000. That number might have since changed. I don't know. And I don't, quite honestly, I don't know why we wrote 28,000 expressly in. Oh, that's from the water department. So that's that's one of their conditions. So at the end of this, engineering and water had some conditions with an extension. We're just going to have them, verify that their conditions are still adequate for you, because we actually put their department comments in the permit condition. So I'm sure you saw the sewer permit fee. That number's probably more now. I'm not certain. I don't know, Nick, if you know off the top of your head, but.
I don't, Paul, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. It's just, I was surprised to see an exact number in there, and that's what threw me off. But we'll obviously, like I said, when we, I think, I don't know how you want to do, when we do the extension and modification, how you want to handle all of those permit conditions. I don't know if you noticed. I have it up on this. Oh, no, I don't have it up on the screen. Sorry, I had everything paused. So engineering actually has all of these huge permit conditions, and then wastewater has these permit conditions. So.
Oh.
But again, those probably changed from that time to now. So I don't know if we want, Jeff and or Nick to double check those, and so that we keep it consistent, we just have revised those to current standard and put them in the new permit decision.
Either that, or we just make them a little more standard outside of the decision about complying with.
Well, yeah, I just meant more that.
This was more, I'll say, we don't normally put as much detail in special, but since this has changed hands a little bit, so we want to make sure everybody's clear, so you can read what some of these requirements are and you know what you're looking at.
So I guess my question is, we haven't had enough time to meet those. So as you're mentioning,
they're not.
Oh, okay.
They're not now that you have to do them.
Okay.
All of these permit conditions will be at the appropriate time during construction.
Right.
The only ones that, obviously, and we'll get into this, but the only ones that there's some things that are going to come up, like when you pull a building permit.
Yeah.
There's certain things that are going to be automatically triggered from that. When you start doing site work, to whatever site work you have to do to meet the plan we already approved. Once you start that site work, there's parts of that plan that are going to have to be complied with DPW, like the stormwater and sewer tie-ins and all of that stuff.
See, look at number 5 right there. There's an existing concrete pad with 3 manhole covers located to the east.
Yeah, I know. I was just moving it up.
Is this an old septic tank or grease trap? Please clarify what this is and confirm it has been properly abandoned. So it's kind of like, these are things you're going to have to go through, and everybody took a lot of time to put this together so that you're aware of what the questions are so you can satisfy them.
I'm aware of this. I guess my question is there anything specific that we should pay
Outside
special
of this?
attention to?
Yeah, so you've got this because it's in the permit, so you're aware of that. You're requesting for one more bedroom, so you're looking at from 27, you're looking for 28 units?
One more unit.
One more unit.
Are they all 2-bedroom now?
They're all going to be 2-bedroom.
Okay, so that changes because the original permit condition is all 1-bedroom.
These are all 2-bedroom units?
Yes, they're all 2-bedrooms.
Okay. This
So
will change. So let's
reduced a little
recalculate
bit
the
of the square
parking.
footage originally, but it's nothing detrimental. Keep in mind,
You
these are
said
really high
50-something,
ceilings
that's
as well.
why I did the math.
It was right?
28, it's still 1.5.
Okay, yeah.
So it's 42 spaces, 28 times 1.5.
Okay, 42 spaces and they have 54.
Yeah. So when you were saying that, I was doing it as you were talking. So again, some of the math will probably change as far as, that sewer fee, I assume, is tied to flow calcs, and I assume that's tied to number of bedrooms, but we'll verify that. And then anything else that might change, we'll be sure to include it in the permit condition. But I would say, hopefully, most of these are just answered. Yeah.
Like that. All right. Do any board members have any questions or comments?
All set?
Also, you're good? Okay, I'm going to open up to also public comment. So if there's anybody virtual, please use the raise your hand function so we can see your hand and take your comment.
I don't know.
So if there's anybody present physically, if there's anybody who wants to have a comment or question on this project. Okay.
I have one question. Was it addressed before? I was trying to look through the decision. Isn't church parking in there?
It's on the other side. It's on the far side of the building.
Oh, okay.
It's in the opposite the street parking lot.
Okay, so not the playground.
Right.
Correct, no.
No.
We've had,
My alma mater.
oh yeah, that's right, we've talked about that. We've had, I think this is the at least third developer we've had through here, so, and Bob Christmas more than once. So,
Is it look through to see?
yeah, so I think I certainly am very excited to see that there's some momentum and that hopefully things continue. And I don't have a problem, given that there is sufficient parking there, I don't have a problem necessarily with the number of bedrooms. I would add a permit condition when we do modification or revision that is the developer's responsibility to provide all access on site and not on street.
All access?
All parking.
Parking.
The understanding there is we all obviously know how dense Lower Cleghorn is to begin with, that if parking ends up being an issue, that it's going to be up to the developer to say to some people, you can't have two cars, or all parking has to be on site. And if we start having problems with people parking in the neighborhood and we're ticketing people and they're always from the same development, the problem's going to be on the developer, not those people parking on the street.
Okay, so now that opens a little bit of a question for me.
I mean, if I were you, I would create quite a few more one-bedroom units, but I know your pro forma makes it's much harder to do when you're getting much less rent, but you need to make sure all your parking is on site. There's not enough off-site parking in that neighborhood to support a large-scale development.
Is this considered large scale?
Yeah.
And what's a lot?
What do you mean?
What's a lot of people parking? Because technically there's street parking.
So you should be able to handle all your parking in your parking lot.
Absolutely, but like I said, people can guess there's holidays. We don't have control over that. That's what I'm wondering.
So my expectation would be that if it's an occasional issue, it won't be your problem. If it's a consistent habitual issue, it will be the developer's problem. So you're better to solve it now by either securing other off-street parking or reducing the density in your project.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to end up, if we have a problem in the future, we will force you to reduce your density if you have parking issues.
So right now, you've got a requirement for, you're providing 54 spaces and required 42, so you do have extra spaces. So you just want to designate some of those as like visitor parking spaces or...
That's what I was wondering.
It's up to you to manage, we just want you to manage the parking. Some may have one car, some may have two car, units, and then you've got your guest parking. You want to also manage your loading there as well, because you want to designate also an area for people to bring in their groceries and things, and probably be close to the door, and then, go park elsewhere.
Yeah, no, terrific.
Stuff like that.
I understand. I just wasn't sure exactly what.
I mean, quite honestly, I would feel more comfortable if you cut the number of two bedrooms down. I would feel much more comfortable. And I think you would be in a better position long-term if you did that. I've been doing this long enough to know that I know what your response is going to be to that. So I just making it known that if parking issues in the neighborhood are caused from your project, the developer, the owner of that project is the one that has to solve it, not the property owners, not the tenants, not the individual unit tenants.
Okay, sounds good.
We just want you to take an active role in the parking management so that it's not a free-for-all of just park here or wherever. Some people want to say, hey, it's closer to the door, I'm going to park in the street. It's like, no,
Right.
you have to park in the lot.
Well, in that instance, we're just going to apply for some signs, do not park here, and do our due diligence.
Well, put it in your rental agreement,
Yeah, no,
okay,
brilliant, yeah.
about that.
Well, you won't be able to put signs in a public way, do not park there.
No, just on our side, tenants, you have your own spot kind of thing.
There you go.
Due diligence, for
Perfect.
sure,
Yeah. And I don't disagree that there's a little bit of leeway here, and that's, I think, the only reason why.
I figured peak would be holidays. Honestly, really, realistically, peak would be holidays.
And that's going to.
Holidays,
That's
occasional nights and
expected.
weekends, people park on the street, that's fine. It just can't be a problem where your tenants, you have, let's say for the sake of argument, you have half your tenants have 3 cars.
Right.
And now you don't have enough parking there. You will have the duty to tell them they are not allowed to do that.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Yes. Or at least you're required, there's a cap. There is going to be a cap.
I'm just saying, you're going to have to police your
No, yeah.
tenants as
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
and they're going to have to know that, obviously going in, that they have to park on site.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, that's completely
Yeah.
reasonable. All right.
Because you don't have enough, right.
Not only that, if this project is successful, we want to duplicate that just down the road on 35 Daniels. So that's something that we actually definitely want to be, in good
Which
graces.
project? 35 Daniels, which one's that?
It's the big 220,000 square foot.
The Seaboard folding box?
Yep.
Okay.
There's
That one's a little more problematic because there's not a lot of parking, but we'll get there
that
someday.
entire basement, ideally, if we're going to make it all parking.
There you go. That'd be amazing. All right.
Yeah, so hopefully we get this rock and rolling. That'll be great.
More importantly, time limit. What's the extension you're asking for?
So given a go-ahead for us, we want to apply for permits and get things rock and rolling January. That is really quick. Like I said, we're going to be cash flowing a lot of this, and because we're in the trade, we're going to be trading services for a lot of the other trades. So funding is a little bit more accessible to us. So we want to get this rock and rolling third quarter of next year.
How long do you expect construction to take?
Third quarter of next year, so September.
You expect to be complete by September?
We got to move with purpose, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Oh.
So start within a year, finish within 2 years. That would be
Yeah.
my suggestion.
Yep.
That'd be perfect, actually. Yeah.
All right. Board have enough materials?
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Somebody like to make a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
With the second from Alin.
There was this
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, discussion?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm very much looking forward to this project taking off. We had hopes for a few different developers that it was going to happen, and it's a building that could look nice when it's done.
So we're looking at also conditions of the 28 units from 27 units increase, and there's also a change from 1 bedroom to 2 bedroom. Let's see, going to verify conditions with the water department.
Do you want me to read mine, because I have them
Go
kind
right
of laid
ahead.
out nicely?
Great.
No visible condensers around the exterior of the building. Subject to the department review and the DPW engineering and wastewater clarifying the prior comments. We can probably handle that internally. Applicant to require all parking to be on site and not allow off-street parking for residents. Start of the project within 1 year, finish within 2 years. And you got number of units, bedrooms, which I had. I would just say as a note, I know you mentioned it, but it can be in there just to clarify that, that the retaining wall needs to be engineered according to the site plan that we've already approved. And then obviously mirroring the site plan that we had approved, I guess, a couple times now.
All right, anybody have anything else to add? Okay. That being said,
That's in the
a
motion.
motion?
Yep, it was. Just need a second.
Who's the second? Second. Second by Tracy. Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And
Good
we'll,
luck.
we'll be drafting a permit. You'll have to
Thank
follow
you.
up. When you get the permit, it has to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Do not forget.
Oh, okay. I'm going to write it down.
Perfect.
Appreciate it, guys.
And if there is no O&M plan, I didn't say this, but continue,
is one.
we'll make it a normal condition that be recorded and maintained in perpetuity. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Excuse me. All right, our next public hearing this evening, a special permit and site plan modification, 216-11, Tegra Properties LLC, proposed modification of planned unit development in the RA district consisting of a mix of multifamily and professional office units located at 579 South Street.
I have to recuse myself.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you. Wait a minute. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what, can we ask Paul, could you? We need to bring up stuff on the slides. Can you ask him back just to like close out so we could, someone else can do it? Yeah, could transfer it over, or transfer it over to.
All right. Someone else can take over if they want.
Let's see, gotta go here. Agenda materials. And say, Dan, could you give me control of the display?
Any of the members who, any of the panelists who are logged in can screen share.
Can screen share? Oh, that's right, I just have to hit the screen share button. Thank you. Get there, I'll get there. Documents in here. Is this one of the, just to clarify, is this one of the documents already submitted?
No, so we,
No.
this is the only one that I wasn't able to send to be able to put up, so that's why I have the
Okay.
copies for you.
This one's dated May of '23. I'm just trying to think of which site plan that you submitted presently you'd like me to bring up. Let's see, I can share my screen. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this.
The last email that was sent should have the updated site plan in there, which I think there was 5 attachments.
Sorry. Share screen. This one. Oh, I was gonna say. Is this the plan? Talking about, no, this is not, nope, there's only one. Let's see.
See that good?
My goodness, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the materials.
Chris just updated it.
The one on the bottom, it said 11.
I
It
can't.
says site plan modification.
Yeah, I would say rough would be November dated.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties.
I'm wondering if you go to the document center, the other tab that you have open?
I can't find my tab that's open with the document. Oh, there it is. Thank you. You can see it up there, right? Go up there. Go left, Paula. Go left. Up there. I'm like, where is it? I'm looking at the bottom of my screen.
You see it. You see
You
it.
see it. The bottom one, site plan modification. Let's see. Yeah, we should rotate, some of these functions so we all get familiar with it. We need backups.
Yeah, 11-3.
There we go.
No, that's the same one I just had open. Let's see.
But
but it
isn't
is-
that, but that must
Is that
got to
the
be the
one?
most recent.
Yes,
That's the one?
Yeah.
All right.
yeah, blow it up a little bit.
Because it says mixed-use building, office space, residential.
Okay. Here we go. All right, and then I'll bring up like the elevations and,
Yep, this should be
pieces,
the
but-
other, were you able to get the other, I think it was before now?
let's see. Back to the document center.
There was ones that were put in today.
Oh. Email correspondence, elevation plans, 2016, these.
Yes.
Okay, I guess this was the original elevation.
That was the original one.
That was approved.
Correct.
So that's the 4,500 square foot office space. Oh, here's the
Yeah, there we
these
go.
sketches up
Yes.
here. Front,
So from front exterior up, right?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah,
this one?
correct. That's the landscape drawing.
I need new glasses.
I know, I'm trying to look too myself. I know, this is so we have an idea on the height. I know that was something that had come up.
Yes.
I know Amanda had asked too about that, so I wanted to have Bill give some, so we have an idea on the
That was
reference point.
This is very helpful. Do you want to, which one do you want? I'll drop it on, and then you can explain what it is that you'd like to do.
You can
Or just
go,
leave it.
I guess we can go to the exterior design. Yes. So this is the modification of the approved building that we had for this lot, and we would like to have a mix of residential units and commercial, which will be office units in the building. And this is the 4 different views from South Street. And we have 12 residential and 2 office.
12 residential?
Correct.
Proposed? How many bedrooms?
2 bedrooms, all roughly 900 square feet.
And the commercial?
Say something about why we want to go from the office to.
That's true. Just one of the reasons why, in our thinking of changing from what was originally approved, which was an office building, was this pure demand. It is something that originally, when I purchased the property, that was the original thought, was to put up a office building. And I think we marketed roughly while we were completing the rear building for about a year. And we had zero replies or interest in leasing that spot. And that's when, at that point, we said, geez, we should probably go in another direction, being the residential is, and, there's a big shortage. So that was kind of our thinking behind doing this remodification.
How many units are there now?
12 units. Oh,
in the back.
20 units.
We have existing
Correct.
20 units. And those are also two-bedroom?
It's a blend, mix of 5 one-bedroom and the remainder 15 two-bedroom. And they're much larger units than what's proposed here.
This is a substantial change from 4,500 square feet, though. This is almost, we're almost 18,000 square feet. And 3 stories versus single story. I'm just observing, this is the changes that from what was previously approved that we were looking at. And what's the size on the commercial units? Commercial units, and what are the sizes?
Roughly the same. So say under 1,000 square feet, so roughly 900 square feet for the office spaces.
It's 900 square foot office space? How many?
2 of them.
So it went from 4,500 square feet down to 1,800 square feet? You said 900 square feet per office?
So the 2 offices, right, a 900.
1,800 square feet total of office.
Of total office, correct.
Down from 4,500 from the original plan.
And one of the things we did in this also is we kept the original approved size of the footprint. And we also, part of the square footage is a lower level. So that's partially why it may sound as, I know there is a lot of added square footage of it, but part of it is a lower level that is added. And we did keep the original footprint that was there. So we're not adding anything on as far as the site.
Okay.
It's also in the same location, too.
You're right.
So same size, just taller.
And lower, correct.
And do you
So
mean?
three stories above ground
Correct,
and 1 story below ground.
correct.
And the office space is located on
It's on the first floor in the front of the building.
first floor front, not the basement area.
No, first floor front.
First floor front.
Yes, so if
Thought
you,
that was most appropriate because then it can be seen from the road, and the residential then is more private to the rear.
So,
the top right-hand picture is a view where you can see the office entrance.
okay. I would like to take some public comment. I have my thoughts on this, but I'd like to hear what others have to say on the matter. Is there anybody, actually, how do we figure this out?
wait, I
And
can
our
go in.
participant side.
And because, there is additional square footage, we still meet the parking requirements, and actually there are additional parking spaces that are, just they're extra too. So it's not like we're looking to get any kind of break on parking. It's all
I know
right
that's
there.
always a concern.
Is there anybody virtual who has any comments on this particular proposal at this time?
Did you pull up the, Paul, can you pull up the 3D vision? I don't know if we
Yeah,
had
it would
seen
look
it.
like this.
I think that was in the emails,
I sure hope so.
just so we can put it in context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking, nobody's wanting to talk at the moment, so let's see.
Yep, right below it.
Right below it.
Yep.
Sketch. the visual
Where
rendering.
did the car come from in the grass?
Oh, that one.
I don't know where you got that. That was an early version.
So the building architecture looks good. I guess one of the things that I have is of a concern is I don't like that there's now a basement because it was supposed to be on a slab. So I really would want to avoid having apartments in the basement, see all the window wells there. So that's really something we're not, at least
You don't
looking
think
at for basement apartments, no.
You don't think apartments in a basement?
Basement.
Well, it's open to the.
open. They're not-
One side, it's
yeah.
not like a golfer. We have windows on the opposite side.
Yeah, I
So-
may have
True, but
said
that's
it.
also on the abutter side.
That's true. Windows on the butter's side, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're walkouts. They're not, I may have misspoken. They're not basement apartments. They have access to outside.
But
Well, it looks
they're
like it's a
lower
win- it looks
walkout.
like a window well.
It's the
there.
nature,
There.
it's the nature of the landscape,
No, I understand that, but it was a slab previously, but now you're proposing a basement and putting that on. I'm just saying that's kind of an intrusion a little bit on the abutter on that as well, on that side. Also, I did ask for you to do a render to show the difference between the heights and scale of the neighborhood. And the scale is too large for me. I was looking at it. It's like, again, it's 3 stories. It should be like looking more like 2-story, because you were well above the abutting residence in height. And understanding that the elevation does go up, but everything around there is a story or story and a half building, and you're proposing a 3-story building, which, yeah, that was
Except
just
next
a
door,
concern.
the other side, that are residential, that are 3 stories.
they are 3 stories. And I don't know if,
Where are you talking?
The condominiums,
Oh, that you can't see from the
you
roadway.
guys gonna say you can't see them.
Yeah,
Because
so
of the
that.
ugly fence?
Right, but the issue, you know what, we want to kind of avoid is what happened further up on South Street past the school, where we have these like monstrous condominium, three stories tall, out towering over a story and a half houses next to
I don't
them,
see that at
so.
all.
no, could you pull back up the other,
Is that the one where you're showing the differences?
yeah, the height?
Yeah.
I think we put on there the
Do that.
notated the previous building that's already existing.
This one.
So the building that we built in the back is shown right in the middle. There's a little bit of a roof line, which we matched. That's the rear building.
I guess we're not really looking as much as the rear building as we're looking to what you're looking at across the street and not next to you.
Across the street, the house is, yes, it's a 1.5-story built on probably about a 10-foot rise off the street. So essentially, it's like a 2.5-story.
And what's this, and then what is this, I know it's like depicting, we have to look at what the setback is. It's like, where, from the tree line that you have there now with the shrubs, how far back is that visually from the road?
Well, it has to be 25 feet.
We're about flush with the face of the house next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to visualize, it's like right now you have the shrub line in the front, like how far back from that you actually, would this
Oh,
structure
this
be
building
set
from
back?
that shrub line
Yeah.
is about 40 feet.
Further back? Okay.
From the shrub line back to the building is about 40 feet.
To the front of the building?
To the back.
Yes, the front of the building.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not, I'll say, right on the road, so to speak,
No.
at that height. Like to take does any for the board members have any questions, comments?
Not yet.
Okay, well, I'm going to take some public comment. Is there anybody here? See, I'm looking virtually, and you're right here in front of me. I apologize for that. You're right.
My name is Scott Holland. H.O. Hello, Andy. I live on Norval Avenue, and I've been a resident for almost 20 years now. And I'm okay with how he has everything in the back. But I feel like this is a very big gross misuse of that frontal area. Is a lot of stuff that's obstructing that narrow area. It's just a vicarious piece of land. And the way that road travels, there's a lot of traffic. I'm finding it very difficult. I feel like I'm entering an intersection now because of the cars that are coming out of that 579, and I'm a little off on Norval. I have a lot of Amazon trucks that go in and out of there, and I'm having a hard time. They're coming on to my part of the road at 579, and I'm trying to get out on South Street. It's getting very convoluted. It's very risky. For me to get into Norval Avenue, I have to go over the yellow line so that people can get by me to still go on to South Street. So I just find it's very risky to have this put into this. There's a lot of other viable spots in Fitchburg for this, what he's trying to do. And I think it's very nice, but not on that piece of property. Especially with the cars. You're going to have 65 cars coming in and out of South Street. Not all at once, but I mean, I just find I think it's a gross misuse of that area. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And I find it's a lot of risk. And I think there's a lot of devil's in the devil's in the details. So, I think he's done fine in the back, but I mean, that, if you drive that, you don't live in that area, but when you drive that, it's very risky. It's okay, but I feel, to me, it's very risky. So, and that's going to be obnoxious if it's that high. So I thought it was just going to be one level if they were going to do it. And then if he's going down, now are you going to be blasting?
No.
Well, that's a good question. You could,
Because we've had that situation and our foundation got cracked, and there's, like I said, there's a lot of details. So I just find that it could be put into a different area. That's my feeling. Thank you.
Thank you.
She addressed one of the concerns with the blasting is, I may have said it in saying it's going to be basement units. If you look at the slope of the land, it's just the grade drops significantly from the front to the back, and that's where it's going to have the walkouts. And because of that grade, there won't be any blasting that will need to be done.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name's Wayne Gendron. I live at 4 Sheridan Street in Fitchburg. I am the owner of the property that you talk about across the street. This project has been going on since 2016. They started with 3 apartment buildings. Luckily, it got narrowed down to 1, plus the professional building. And now, since he agreed to those 2 buildings, he's now going to put in more residential. I do want to say I was pleasantly surprised with how the first building turned out. And I believe if he does get granted the special permit to put in the new residential building, it should be as close to that building as possible so as to not obstruct the view from my house. I have a beautiful view of Cogsall area, the wooded area, and everything else, and I do not want to be looking into somebody else's apartment. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Jim Barassi, 535 South Street. We abut the property that these gentlemen are looking to add. We talked about blasting, but how about jackhammering? Because we endured about 2 years of jackhammering, so much that we had to leave the house because you couldn't think. And there's a lot of ledge up there. Pittsburgh has a lot of ledge. So I would pose that a question, even no blasting and no jackhammering. I would also like Deb's comment on the traffic. It's unbelievable to get out of there. You have to blast out of there. With that said, I'm coming back to the buildings. Will the air handlers be on the outside of the building as they are now?
Yeah,
look
you can
out
direct
and-
your questions to the board, and
Oh,
then we'll-
I'm
and then
sorry.
we'll,
Well,
and then we'll ask them.
All right, then the air handlers are on the outside of the building, first and second floor.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, A, that should have happened to begin with, because it's kind of sightly, board members. And, you know, if it's going to just keep going, it's just like, well, what are you going to do? I think that's all I have. Is that all I have?
Air handlers, traffic. Air handlers,
We have an
traffic.
objection to the height of the building because it's higher than the other building that's there now, that they built.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I have. Okay?
Okay.
Honey.
Anyone else present? Okay. I'll bring back to traffic. Do we have an updated, on the aspect traffic study? I know we got the, you updated the site plan piece, but was it updated, though, for this proposal for the traffic in and out to show what the traffic pattern would be, more or less?
Yeah, so he included that, both at the time, the proposal for the new building and including the rear building in his report, yes.
Somewhere.
And also the sightline study.
The sightline study.
Have you been successful at all? There is the tree at the corner. It's a larger diameter tree. If you're exiting your driveway to the left, goes to the sidewalk, whether or not to make some efforts to see whether or not you could remove that tree.
I have not.
Okay.
No, that would be, it's on city property, so I would have to
Yes,
just
whether
go
or
through
not you've
those
made any
channels.
overtures to the abutter regarding that, because that could also help improve the site distance.
I don't have a problem on that now.
And also, have you also touched bases with the other abutter, Mr. Black, here, because there was extensive landscaping that was to be done. So there've been questions about like why it hasn't been done, but also what would change with this project in regards to that. So did you approach him at all with these changes?
So just, you mean where the new properties proposed, the lot line between, what is the? 563.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's going to be, it's reflected on this landscape plan with the fence and the tree line, the arborvitaes.
Did you? But I'm asking, did you speak with him about that?
No, that was part of the original approved property.
It was. It also had a berm on it too, so it was actually putting in a berm and putting in a fence and the lands and on top of that too. But with the elevation changes in elevations in the building there too, whether or not he's aware of that, as well as any apartments on that side, and need to reach out and talk to the abutter about it. Okay. There's been previous history at this location regarding that aspect. So that's why I'm bringing that to the forefront of that, making sure that gets addressed, no matter what goes there. Is any change to that, you should speak with the abutter about that to get their input.
I don't believe there was ever a berm shown on the civil plans at all. And we've just carried through what has been, what was originally approved, where we're showing a 6-foot-high fence along that property line, and then a row of arborvitaes behind that, and then up the hill a little bit, there's another fence line between the parking area and the abutters. And then there's another line of pine trees between that and to create this buffer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on that side of their house, there aren't any windows really even looking into our property, except for a window in a garage. So it's not like we're trying to, I don't know the best term to use, but we're doing a lot of screening for for people who will be on the ground rather than up in their second story looking down into the space.
So this is the side, though, am I looking at the bottom right, that would be facing the abutter down on South Street?
This is the side. Are you using a cursor or something so you're
Yeah,
pointing at
sorry.
something?
Bottom right, down here?
The bottom right.
Bottom right.
Oh, I see your cursor now.
Got the
Yes,
elevation?
that's what's facing the abutter.
Right, so this is like, these are not walkout, these are window wells.
That's
This
right.
is-
It's not a walkout.
Yeah.
On that
I
side.
guess I'm not clear
On
about
that
the
side.
code
On
on
that side.
subterranean
No,
basements.
but it's not a walkout on anywhere.
No.
I thought you said it was a walkout in the back of the building. That's what you said. I thought he said that the basement apartments were going to be walkouts.
In this building, there is not a walkout from the basement.
Yeah, there looks like to be 4 window
I'm
wells on the
confused
side of the, on the.
There are walkouts in the rear building, but not the front building.
Yes.
So it's not like somebody's going to be coming out a patio door and barbecuing at that end of the building. They're secluded, they have to go out the main entrance just like everybody else has to do that.
There seems to be, a lot of issues with the development itself. And I know a lot of the issues that have been brought up can be solved with, like you were talking about, landscaping, shrubbery, and that kind of thing. But those don't seem to be the major concerns from what I hear. The major concerns I hear from the board and from residents in the area are the scope of the project, the size of the project, and the height of the building, and in more particularly, the location of the building on the property. Historically, and I'm not sure, Paul, when you acquired this property, but I knew I'm talking way back now, I knew the original owners of that property, and they were the Quattrelli family that originally owned that property. And I worked with her, Camilla Quattrelli, for a long time. And she had a large piece of property there that she wanted to, the family wanted to develop it. And they were talking, I'm talking years and years ago, about building apartments there. And they were stopped because of some kind of a sightline problem on South Street. Somehow that has been overcome because you obviously got permission to build some units there. So I see the issue with this property is not so much building something there now, it's the scope of the project. And you're asking the board to basically do something because the footprint of what you originally wanted is there. And I think that people would be more apt to vote in favor of this project if that building was downsized a little bit and maybe moved back into the lot a little. Those are my concerns with the property. And I'm not all in favor of adding more traffic to the area by adding an entire basement full of apartments.
2 apartments in the basement.
Yeah, there's 2.
Well, it's two apartments, 4 more cars. So it's a problem. And, again, you're asking the board to solve the problem for you. And I'm not sure that's our responsibility to solve the problem for you. It's your development. You bought it to wanting to do a specific thing. It was approved. And now you're trying to modify it. And that's where the rub is, I guess.
I don't feel it's unreasonable. Essentially, if you look at the original building too, it really is a strip mall. And with office, I know we talked a lot about traffic, you really don't know what you are going to get. And that doesn't mean there could be a situation where it could be a lot more traffic. At least here there's a controlled amount that we know. We have a requirement for parking. And I feel that the look of this building as to a glass front stone strip mall looking building is going to fit much better also.
One level. It was one level. I think that's the big thing. It's the three levels.
It's 3 stories tall. It's like the architecture looks good, and I'm not opposed to seeing some additional residential, but it's the scope, we're adding like 12 more units on a 4,500, like the pad, which is like half the size of the 20 units you have in the back. Trying to, put that all on in there in that one spot, and it could be more of like a, again, it's that scope is a little too large. It's like, even if you lose the commercial aspect of it and just doing residential, it's like less residential, like the put the height down, and because get the scale, it's like the scale.
May I speak?
Sure. Please just come to the podium, though, to do that, if you have a question.
I'd like to add something, too, because at 563, the abutter, nothing has been done. There's not even a sidewalk. I see people over there that are disabled, and they're using wheelchairs. There's only one area that you put a curb. So another curb should be put in, and a sidewalk. There's no sidewalks all up and down South Street. But with Mr. Blacaire, he's got a disability, but he and I bump into each other at the market and here and there, and he was commenting about those abrevieties. That's in his sight line, trying to back out of his driveway. So I don't know where those are going to go, because they just get taller and taller. So he's having a hard time trying to get out of his own driveway. So that's a big concern, too. But you can speak with him when you deal with your landscaping. It's a big site issue. It's a visual site risk. That's my concern.
Well, that hopefully would be, whatever development goes there, that landscaping would improve. That was supposed to be temporary. With the arborvitaes, it's temporary. We're just trying to put some screening off of kind of what you see, but they're, kind of small to do too much in some cases. But it was an attempt to try to, as a temporary measure till something is developed there at that spot. But I understand about the sidewalk.
You did do a sidewalk, correct?
Yes, there's a little bit, probably a little further improvement to be made there. I think I did speak with someone who was using the ramp, but the ramp that goes like onto your properties, there's still a bump on that area. It's not flush down where you can actually, roll up ADA onto the ramp. And also, remember previously on a former site walk, we also, I'll just say an off-site improvement would be, again, fixing the sidewalk off of the Ashley Ridge driveway, where people can get off of the sidewalk that you installed, but they can't get up the other side to continue down to the intersection, school or Cogs Hall. So they're stuck, like just going to the entrance of Ashley Ridge. So we just need that other side to turn it to a little ramp to
We're
allow
talking about
ADA.
the abutters sidewalk, the curb cut going into their property.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That piece too. What else did I notice?
And to get back to the arborvitaes, yes, that was temporary.
Yeah.
We had talked about doing something like that to screen some of the construction stuff that was going on.
Right.
My drawing shows that those arborvitae are being moved and relocated. So now it's just going to be a lawn in front of the building.
Okay. Yep.
And the bump on that is because that isn't the top coat paving which will complete, and we held off because of the the building in the front.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
probably why that.
That's not the wear surface.
Right.
Has any of the landscaping been done towards the back of the building?
That's
that
complete.
is that.
Yeah.
I mean, the property is an eyesore. I mean, with the front. I mean, it's
the front.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're waiting to build a building.
Yes.
I understand that, but it's
just not, the grading's not there. It's just looking.
All the landscaping
For
has been
years.
completed for the rest of the site.
Yeah, except for the pad. It's the pad area that is looking atrocious.
right.
That's
Yeah.
what we're. That's
Right.
which is
Now-
kind of everybody.
Our plan would be upon approval is to start right away, and that would,
Yep.
That would go away.
right. No, and I want to beautify it. I want to make it, like the rear building. When you pull in, if you look in the back, it's beautifully landscaped and green.
Oh, you did a nice job with the landscaping in the rear, and I appreciate, it looks like, yeah, for moving of the dumpster locations and too behind the screen
Yes.
area, and
Paul, there's an existing concrete pad there, correct? No, not yet, nothing is there yet.
No.
the parking lot is...
Infrastructure is there.
Yeah, so that,
all the
I know one of the
parking's-
gentlemen mentioned about all the, as far as Hammer, the infrastructure's all here. It's just, we're ready to tie into it with
Right.
the new building.
And I believe you've done deep holes and borings already, and there's no stone. And if something happens to crop up a boulder that may be in the way, if you're looking from South Street towards the front of the building, the right side basement is basically empty. It has a meter room, and that's about it. So if that had to be a slab at that point because of unforeseen conditions, then that's what's going to happen. Nobody wants to blast. It costs too much money.
So what's tying you to that location right now is the infrastructure that's already in place?
Yeah, that's...
That's right.
Yes, the plumbing, everything is, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all ready to, dig it up, and then there are tees off of it to be able to attach to it. Don't have to dig out in the road anymore. None of that stuff will happen.
Yeah. So once we start, we feel that we could get this done very quickly.
What about pets? Because there's nothing on the landscaping plan for pets. And I know somebody that lives in that back building that has pets.
For pets?
Yeah.
We're talking about a pet, again, just like you saw the last development, like a pet relief
Half
area
the site's not
designated?
developed, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of green
Area.
space.
Well, yeah, I mean, but wouldn't you have a designated area?
Yep. I'll say, you
I mean, if they have kids, you don't want kids playing in the...
I mean,
we would say add a designated area.
yeah, I mean, there's, sure. Plenty of
Also,
green
so
space.
one of the other, another difference too is that it's like the back was designed for residential, and we have like, I'll say, an outside area for residents too, which we don't have that because it was all going to be commercial in the front. Any type of like residential area outside, or it's just, drive up to the building and you're in. Is there any community space
I know
or
it's-
planned or something in the building, or?
Not in the building, no. But, I mean, this is one total project we're looking at this. I know it's two different phases,
Yep.
but everybody in the front building, I mean, it's going to be all shared between both buildings. They'll be able to enjoy some of the backyard and I know there's some trails that go up to Cogswell Park, so that'll be available to both buildings or residents, so.
Okay. Standard questions?
You got another member of the public who would like to say
Oh,
something.
certainly. If you, just please state your name for the record. Come to the podium.
Michelle Shabarasi, 535 South Street on Ashley Ridge. When we moved in, the excavation hadn't quite started yet, and so I didn't know what was really going there. And I did some research reading meeting notes, and one of the things I saw was that there was some discussion on what would happen with the fencing on the right-hand side, which I live right along the fence. And I was going to, when I saw that, I thought, oh, maybe they're going to, fix the fence. But the wording was such that he would maintain whatever fencing is there now. And there is some section of white fence that continues along towards the back row of my actual 4-unit building. And then there's some chain link fence that starts. But the section from the road, that yellow fence that's there is, very old and needs to be painted and maintained, and it's exposed now. It's very old. It could be 35, 40 years old, and it's now all exposed, and everyone can see it, but it's even worse on the backside because...
I'd say please bring that up to your condominium association, because we've brought this up in the past as well, and they can't touch your fence. It's that Ashley Ridge's fence.
Right, so I'm trying to figure out what existing fencing did he promise to maintain in those meeting notes?
in the meeting notes?
For whatever process you have to go
Okay.
through to get approval.
It could be
initially.
also the fencing for the abutter, and he's got to install fencing between him and Mr. Black here as well, and maintain the fencing there along the property line for fencing that he installs. But he
It
can't,
was talking, they were talking about abutters
right?
fencing.
Written on Ashley Ridge, but I mean, this thing's going on for 7 years now, so, but there was a notification about what she's saying. I remember reading it, but.
On the southerly side, on the decision, it says on the southerly side of the site, install a vinyl fence. That's the
Yeah, but
abutter.
that's down, no, but that's this vinyl, that's right, that's for the abutters.
That's the
fence
south
further
side.
down.
But this was talking about existing fencing. So I'm asking if you're saying it's not what he was talking about, what existing fencing existed that he promised to maintain? I mean, it's in there somewhere. But the other issue was, though that architecture is nice, I still think it's too big and too high, but I'm just curious as to why the long-term planning didn't include architecture that you would have tried to, something that worked a little bit better with what kind of is there now with roof lines or a style, because now it's just two very, very different buildings.
Well, it was approved as a single-story office building.
Right, and I saw that the roof line that was there, although it's one story,
Right.
it does kind of mimic the roof lines that he has now. So, anyway, just wanted to mention that. Thanks.
That's okay. I know, so I was speaking just about the fencing because it's pretty large. But the Ashley Ridge, the fencing along there, did you discuss with the abutter at all about the ability to be able to paint that side of the fence?
No.
Okay.
I'd be willing to.
Yeah, so that, I just wonder not you made any, efforts to talk to them about that, so you could at least get that painted to improve the aesthetics.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
You'd be open to that?
Yes, I mean, because ultimately, the residents there have to look at that too, so I agree with her. And I always, I want to be a good neighbor.
On our side of the fence, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, we can bring up the permit. What does it say on the, it's on the permit, it's on there. I'll find it.
I don't see any, I just saw, the only fencing part I saw was,
To clarify, it's like vegetation, trees, site distance, site driveway. Right, you have to maintain the vegetation away from the sidewalk that's
Yes.
newly installed, and keep up with that, to keep
Yes.
the site distance clear. South Street. Install a vinyl fence on top of the banking from the front corner of the apartment building to the front of the office building. And then a staggered row of white pines facing the abutting side of the fence. That was the embankment we're talking about when they were talking about the fence on the mound. It was down below fencing. But I think that was trying to describe that.
Trying to
that was
describe
going to
it.
between. That's why it needs to be clarified between yourselves and the abutter about what the expectation is. And,
Sure.
and with any changes of elevations of the building structure, how that would change. 'Cause before he had there was dumpsters in parking lot in a commercial building, and now the dumpster's been moved and what is being proposed, so it would be incumbent upon you to do that.
Sure.
To clarify that. Office space, dumpsters. Change. Nope. Landscaped areas. That is so far the only mention of the fencing. There was some addition also, you install vinyl fencing further down along Ashley Ridge's side, past where the current, like, 8-foot fence is, your existing building.
Okay.
I think you already installed.
Yes.
Fence, that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. You installed the
Yes.
whole section of fencing there.
Vinyl fence and white pine.
White pines, yep.
Correct.
Yep.
That's pretty much what's going to be mimicked.
Maintained.
Right, and maintained, and we're going to mimic that on that
Yep.
line between the neighbors.
Would I be correct in saying that you were originally approved for a single-story office building? That's what was approved?
Correct.
Way back?
Correct.
Okay, and you were happy with that?
I was fine with that.
You were fine with that? And that was a single-story office building. How many offices?
Roughly 4 offices.
4 offices, okay. So you would have had 4 incomes there from 4 different parties if you were lucky to rent those?
And, right, and we did have it, we marketed it for about a year.
Okay, so you were happy with 4 units. Would you be happy with 4 apartments? Why would you have to now have a multiple of apartments rather than 4? You were happy with 4 offices. You were all set to go. You changed your mind. Why not just change it to 4 apartments?
Well, I think it would obviously be a market, there's a difference in commercial to residential, and also there's literally zero demand. And so even if
No, I'm not saying I'm not even saying pursue the office aspect of it. Just look at the apartment
Yeah, just
aspect
replace
of it.
them.
Right.
Apartments. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, I looked at it and I said, well, if we're going to, the original thought was the commercial. And at the time, when I didn't get any response from it, if we're going to go through the process of, say, changing it over or converting it, it's why not to try to put more of what I think the demand is, and that is the residential apartments. And
as you can see, that's where the rub is now. You went from a single-story office complex, 4 offices, which was approved, and everyone's thought that was okay. And now you're coming back and you're looking for how many units?
12.
12 with 3 stories, 4 really, 1 on the ground. So you're changing the plan dramatically, really. And that, I think, is what got everybody a little bit uptight, is the fact that it's changed dramatically rather than, okay, I'll go with what I had, the single story, I'll put 4 apartments in and I'll be happy. And maybe the neighbors would think that's a pretty good compromise, and you'd be able to rent those fairly easily.
I don't know if a pro forma would work.
I know. I know.
I'd like to add that in 2016, I was in the seats. I was present at that meeting. I wasn't on the board then. But this project was very contentious at that time. So it does seem now like, it's like it seems to me like you were very fortunate to get that project started. And now to come back in 2023 and want to change it, it's tough. You've put the board in a tough spot because we did everything we could for you in 2016, and now that wasn't enough, and you want to change your plan.
Also, there's a different owner now, too.
Yeah,
I mean, those are some of the changes, too, that happened over the many years.
Yeah.
There was another design team involved back then, too, so I wasn't involved in that project.
Yeah, myself.
No, but it doesn't change the contention of what was originally passed.
Oh, I understand that.
And now you're still meeting the same opposition. It's like the neighbors haven't changed. They don't want this project any more this year than they did in 2016. So we're just like, I don't know. We got to give a little. It's a big building. And if you could just swap out what was originally approved, then there's not much anyone can do to stand in your way for that.
Yes, it doesn't hurt to ask, but this is the feedback. Is there any other, Lynn, do you have any thoughts?
No, I'm just thinking, I'm concerned with the scope. Everything that the board has stated, I agree with. I'm concerned with the density. I'm concerned with the addition to traffic. That is a main road to go to Route 2, to go to Leominster, and we don't have a lot of connections to Route 2 here in Fitchburg that are so accessible, and you're going to be adding a lot of traffic. I take that right to get onto South Street every single day, and every single day it's backed up more and more to Coggeshall. So adding that additional, whether it be 65 cars, whether it be 30 cars, that's a lot of cars. And I'm not seeing the traffic study in the, I might be missing it. I see the sight line. I don't see the traffic study in our materials. Like I said, I could be missing it.
Was that the site distance assessment?
Yeah, it's here, project description.
So there's no traffic study?
There was an original
There was.
traffic study, and this is kind of like an update, but they probably should provide they can provide the original traffic study as part of that. Driveway sidewalk, site distance assessment, there's a site distance measurement.
It lowered the traffic going from office to residential.
This development presents a reduction. It
Going to
says-
residential, yeah, it'd be lower.
And that's what happened,
And
so.
in the amount of, by way of a new driveway.
Would you be opposed to going back and modifying the plans and coming in front of the board again with something different? You know, reduced in size, reduced in scope, possibly pushed back? Because, you know, reading the comments of what I've heard on the board, I don't really think that this is going to move forward the way it is. So it's basically up to you what you'd like to do at this point. We can vote on it if you'd like.
Paula, this is Alex. I'd like to chime in too.
Yes, thank you, Alex. I'm sorry.
I'm in agreement with the board. I think that this is not the best idea, and I think it's creating an unnecessary issue with the neighbors or abutters at this time. I think if there's adjustments made, I'm very open to seeing them, but I think the way it is now, I don't see how this. I'd vote yes on this.
Okay. So I guess the question is, like, would you come back to look at narrowing the scope? Decrease the unit, probably not, ex-nay the basement units, and see if you could bring a story down, and you make it look, I mean, just tossing out there, I mean, the architecture looks good, just it's just, again, the scale.
Sure. And from my end, it's the balance of the economics of the viability of building at this time. And I know in the previous, obviously, building costs are a lot different than they were 4 or 5 years ago also. And I guess I don't want you to vote on it tonight, no. So I guess I'll say that. So I guess just some more guidance on, I mean, would taking away the basement units, or what?
Third story.
Or the third story.
I think a story.
Just give me something more to.
Personally, from my point of view, I'd be willing to kind of consider and talk about a building on that exact location if you follow the plans that were originally approved, which is 1 story, 4 units, right on that location. That would be something I could talk about and I could maybe stand behind. I would also think that if you wanted to push it back a little bit, if you wanted to maybe go back into one of the parking areas and move some of the parking up front a little bit, maybe that could be 2 stories.
Parking up front?
Building.
Well, yeah, no.
We get into the granite.
That's not going to work either. So you know, that's. I don't think that we're going to be able to do much more than that at this point.
I'm not totally opposed to 2-story. I think that 3rd story is a lot.
And the rendition you showed of the building itself, the original building, I think it's great. I mean, I like the looks of it a lot.
Strip center?
Yeah, it looks, I like the looks of that building a lot. It's just too massive for that spot.
I mean, I feel that I went in this direction for the design to try to fit the neighborhood, because I know that, you know, when I took the project over, I know that was,
yeah,
you know, the look of what was going to go
Right.
there, and that's really the thinking behind that was a glass front strip mall look, or something that looks like, if you drive by, it looks like another house.
No,
That
I
doesn't
think you
look
did
like
everything,
another house,
you did everything right there. The building looks good as you had it
Nice looking building.
done.
You could
I
put a-
understand what you're trying to do with the mansard roof, you know, so it doesn't look like a third story.
Right.
To the, you know, to the eye, but it's a big building.
Okay.
Could put a single-family home up front.
So I guess we'll go back to the drawing board then.
Take a look.
Yeah.
So, so we can continue this and have further discussion with your proposals, or you can, if you think it's going to take a lot longer, you can withdraw it and submit it when you feel that you're ready, or you want to, if you continue it, we don't have to continue it just to December. We can say continue to January, or give you time to think about it.
I mean, I think
Back.
that, I mean, everything is ready here, you know, and it's just a matter of reconfiguring now.
My schedule.
Yeah, your schedule.
Would you like to continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about to January?
Well, that's up to, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because the December meeting's a week earlier.
It is going to be.
It's December 19th.
Because it's not going to have it on Christmas.
Motion to continue the site plan for 579 South Street.
1 second. We got one more comment, just to see if there's takeaway, if there's a,
I just hope when they reconsider, I really don't know the height of my windows from my house looking out. And I hope that they don't exceed that height. I'm talking about sea level now. And that's why I suggested they move the building back, that land slopes severely, so that the further they go near the existing apartment building they have, the lower the building will be.
yeah, but that actually goes higher.
Goes high, yeah.
It's actually higher. You see where the parking lot is, how high the parking lot is?
No, I thought the land slopes.
You can, you know.
Originally, it did.
Originally,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
There's a lot of
Okay.
blasting.
Any more? But, no, understood. So a motion's been
Motion
made
to continue the site plan modifications
To-
for 579 South Street.
January
January, please.
to January.
Yeah, no, it's up to you.
And is there a second to that motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
That's right.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
All right, all those opposed?
All right.
None? Okay.
It's January 23rd.
January 23rd.
Thank you.
thanks.
It's January 23rd, just so you know.
January 23rd.
No, those were stacked.
So Paul, we made the decision that we all have to switch off being you.
Perfect.
That'll work.
Paula handled it after she got in the swing of
It's
things.
like you did. To like click the button, I'm like, where? Oh, well, you can see my screen up there. It's like
You
that
did-
one goes and that one.
Did fine.
There we go.
Well, and Paul does that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Well, I pause the screen because I have stuff going in the background that I forget I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Many
It's
things.
always so weird.
Yeah.
So that one's going to be continued.
If you want to hit stop share at the top of your screen, or you can keep going too if you
Yeah.
want. Okay,
think
perfect.
I did.
Yeah, we're good then. Yep.
Our next hearing, site plan review, Let's Rage. Proposed commercial indoor recreation facility with restaurant, lounge, and entertainment areas located at 480 Main Street, or 16, using 16, 18, and 20 Putnam Street in the in-town business district. The IB district.
All
Good
right.
evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. I'm Brian from Let's Rage, Fitchburg resident. I'm Jonathan Martelli from Let's Rage, Fitchburg resident as well.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
If there's anything in particular you want on the screen, this is just the site plan. I'll leave this up unless you want something else.
You're here. Okay.
If you have the interior drawing on there, that may be a little bit more sufficient to be able to answer any questions you might have.
Sure. Just so you know, the interior isn't part of the site plan approval, but that's okay. We can.
Yeah, so we want to just understand, so this is because you're in front of us because it's a change in use. So you're requesting commercial indoor recreation. So because of the change in use, it triggers a site plan review. So we look at parking, which is not required here, but we're also looking at like the dumpster, and we're looking at the facade and other aspects like that, and egress.
So,
Safety.
parking, it's centered in between the Main Street parking deck as well as the Putnam Street garage. Off the rear boulder side of the building is where the dumpster for this building has been. It will remain in that location. That's already been discussed with Mark Dohan of Newview, who is they own that piece of property. We do have the letter in there. It should be in there now as well. Yeah. So to the right where the red dumpster is where it would remain. There is already been talks with Mark about at some point developing a kind of some sort of enclosure for the dumpsters as well, which of course we would be, more than willing to work with them.
Yeah,
that
keep
it more neat.
I think that's been something we're definitely wanted to just, it's probably one of our primary pieces right here, is because the nature of your business, we want to know where you're going to be storing the materials, and if there's any outdoor and storage, and how you're going to bring them in and out, and where you're going to put them, and that everything is screened pretty much, and with the dumpsters and any type of storage is screened.
So one of the main reasons for us looking to actually move from the facility where we are right now is we have to use so much outside storage. The layout and size of this building will allow us to bring everything indoors, with the exception, of course, of a dumpster. Really, even the recycling, so when we pull the electronic components or the metals to have those recycled, that would all be piled inside the building.
Okay. Is it through the access door that we see in the photo there? Is that where you'll be bringing in the materials?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct, through the side entry door.
Side entry. And your patrons would all be going in through the Putnam Street entrances?
Correct.
And we plan to repaint and redo the facade of the building come spring. We're hoping to get it going a little bit sooner, but we will be making that look a lot nicer as well.
Minimally, at least you're going to paint was it like a stucco
It is
material?
hard,
Or
yeah.
I noticed that in your description.
Yeah. So I've actually already
metal.
been in communication with John Martin, the muralist of the rear of the building. Our target would actually be to help bring it around to the front of the building to kind of tie into it, be consistent.
That would be nice.
Make it look like it flows like it meant, like it's always been.
That'd be great.
Kind of stop at where the bowling alley is and kind of even repaint his stuff because it's not looking too good. We want to freshen up everything, the curb appeal, just make it look inviting for everybody.
Bring some life back into that.
Well, there's one word on there I wish you had changed in the description, where it says minor aesthetic enhancements. I would wish it would be major aesthetic enhancements, because that building needs a lot of attention.
Baby steps. Let us start with this area when we
baby
take
steps.
over the building.
Baby steps, but we want to know what the building is going to look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't, if you're talking about maybe we'll paint it in the spring.
No, it's definite.
Definitely.
Well, do we need more than paint though? That's what I'm saying.
There is some actual minor rot areas under the windows and such. We actually also own a construction company So we're more than happy to take, that little area.
So you can do an incredible job in this building if you own a construction company.
You deconstruct.
I can do the books and all that. I can get all the weeds gone for you. He's the one you want
And
painting
the
and
awnings that
constructing.
used to be there, you can kind of see where the awnings were. Those are still available. We'd like to kind of put our logos on those and, repurpose
Okay.
those to add a little more character to that side of the street there.
Does it go all the way, so you'll be
Pretty
using
much
all the
it
way
goes
to
right
where the bowling?
bowling alley
Okay.
entrance.
So where the blue, yellow, and red
Yeah, okay.
underneath the bowl is, that's essentially where our area would be ending.
Those three entranceways.
Yeah, the furthest door towards the rear of the building, the first one to the right, that'll be the rage room entrance. The middle one leads to the bar area, and the one next to the bowling alley will be kind of, the recreation area for, shows, things like that.
Have you talked with the city regarding the facade program and/or the FRA regarding any?
So I've been in communication with the FRA a little bit. We're kind of focused on getting in there, getting functional, doing what really needs to be done, and then, pick up back on there as we have a lot of moving parts right now.
Yeah,
So
just
it's
wanted
a-
to make you aware that there is potentially some monies available towards helping with the facade.
Sign and facade improvements, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Which would be wonderful, because then I can
Yeah.
do even more.
So my only, I guess my comment is, Paula, how far do we want to get into, this dumpster screening?
I think we just want it, we need, I'm not sure where the easement is, but we'd just like it depicted on the plan where we need it, we need something on a plan,
Yeah,
draw the
we kinda
box or
talked
where the
with
screen.
Newview
On the
about-
plan, there
Right here.
is placement of the dumpster at the back right corner there.
So it's basically against,
Building.
let me go back. It's against, the way it's on the plan is, it's back to what looks like an old garage door. Right.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it will be in that general area. I'm not going to say it's going to be directly up against
Mm-hmm.
the building, because I don't believe for a sense of emptying it
So
and
what
stuff
should-
like that, it would probably have to be a
What's a
couple
good,
feet away.
What's a good description of the location to be, say, that would be screened?
Oh, but it's literally shown
No,
on
that's
that.
just the dumpster, it's not screened, though.
Right, no, I know, but what I'm saying is the
Be
location
Screen
shown.
around, location, we're just going to say screen around the dumpster on the,
A part of this issue that we're going to run into
Parking
with the
lot.
screening is actually where Newview is planning to redo that whole rear area when they do the apartments and all of that are coming in. This is based on conversations with Mark. They plan on moving that cement pad, which is an egress point right now, and that's where he's intending to do the screening
Why don't,
and add
why don't we do
dumpsters
this?
into
Why don't we do this? Because you're fresh to the building, New View's got stuff going on. Why don't we make it a permit condition that within a year of issuance of the permit, that they provide us with a location for screening of the dumpster and,
well, it's because it's here for site plan review, so I just want to, just say it needs to be screened, but it should be screened like relatively soon.
well, that's what I'm
Not-
saying.
Not,
It-
I can't
But it
wait
might
for
be
new.
moved.
The conversation is it won't be able to be done until they're in, New View's site plan is settled that we approved with the,
I don't think so, I think they could they screen it in.
So we can't, because that's Newview's property. That isn't the property of the building we're in. So we are kind of at their Newview's mercy. I mean,
is that garage door open?
yes.
Why don't you do interior storage totes and then wheel them out once a week?
Well, it's big
You could have
stuff.
three
It's-
96
they need a-
gallon.
they need
You could
a-
have
they
three
need a
96
dumpster.
gallon totes. It's gonna be the same size as that dumpster.
3 96-gallon totes would probably last us about a day.
And the weight.
Well, I mean, that
of the
dumpster's what,
glass,
that
the
dumpster's
weight
what,
is-
200 yards?
If you saw what came out
I mean,
today.
It's mostly going to be streamlined recycling. So our plastics, wood, and glasses go in one area and with Republic Services. So the sheer weight of that isn't something
Yeah,
that we can
it's-
physically
How about-
move is the issue.
So where do
Doesn't it
where
say
do you,
you can-
go ahead.
Increase the size of the dumpster?
From what's there,
Yeah.
one size, yep.
So it's going to
Because that's what it said in the letter.
But are you using the same dumpster as New View, or they're just going to have, you're
They're
each
gonna
going to have
have
your
their
own
own,
dumpster?
from what
So
we
that
talked about.
location needs to satisfy both.
Yeah, we agreed that
Yeah.
we would do enclosures
So
and they
you-
would have their own on
So you need
separate
to
sides.
come to an
At this time, it would be exactly how it is right now. New View does not have a dumpster there. That is the dumpster for 480 Main that is existing. So, I mean, we're looking to maintain placement until we work with New View to get a screening process. Because if I'm being blunt, if my business is there, I don't really want people coming over the bridge and going, oh, look, what a wonderful dumpster. I want the screening, but it's not our property to actually do that. So I do have to kind of work with them and be on their mercy.
And it looks like from the email, there's an agreement for them to do that, so we just need to get that done sooner rather than later, because we can't wait, a couple of years to when New View wants to do their project.
So, I mean, I feel like, based on what I know about New View's project, doing a screening within a year, I do think is a very fair accommodation.
How about, can you keep everything in the dumpster, and you have to keep I don't know how you keep the dumpster locked, and that's the thing.
No, so we do now, we have a lock bar that comes up over the front covers. You padlock it, as well as the side doors get padlocked. Part of our normal daily cleaning routine right now is actually cleaning up anything around the dumpster, so we would continue at this location.
So that's
as
pretty
well.
much, and the key is just to clean up,
won't be any
there should be
debris.
no outside storage, keeping it clean, keeping it secure, and and then getting that enclosure there to give you a little more liberty.
Yeah.
One of the draft conditions I had was quite simply, no trash or material storage outside of the dumpster.
Yep, and keep it locked.
And then what I had written was dumpster screening to be shown on the plan, which you can probably negotiate placement with New View between now and when they do their whatever site work they're going to do, and then complete it within a year of the issuance of the site plan. That would be my suggestion. Again, I don't know how you feel about that, Paula.
I'm fine. Your site plan. So I guess they could, since this is a site plan, come back for a minor, when you get the.
Right, show it on the site plan.
Just do a minor modification, a minor site plan, to just show it, submission, we're putting it here, and this is what the material is. Because also, we kind of want to avoid chain link fence directly.
No fence, no wood.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
You want it
They
to
do
kind of like look
decorative
nice,
vinyl.
decorative, like
Wet
along
wood becomes hell.
highly visible area, so we do say kind of like vinyl fence.
You could probably do something that matches the building, like a gray or a dark brown, or something that's,
Doesn't have to be
muted
white.
tone that matches the building so it fits in, but that's all easy stuff. The hard part is placement and building, so.
Yep. And that fits in with the residential portions too, and everybody wants to like have it look clean.
So now where that's going to be tied into New View's process in a lot of ways, do you have any insight to where they are on their plans at this time? Because
You
that,
don't.
again, that's
I think you're
their
going to have to
property.
work with them to just come up with a plan that allows you to put the posts in the ground and put the fence up and put it in.
So, I mean, technically, there's two site plans, because theoretically, New View should be modifying their site plan as well as the site plan, because it doesn't exist right now, right? The dumpster, but anyway, we don't need to go there.
I don't know that we approve an outside dumpster for them.
Well, no, what I'm saying is by locating this on their site plan,
Right.
it
Oh.
doesn't matter. It only impacts it if there was a parking space there, which I don't think there was because of that overhead door. The point I was just going to make is, I just want to make it clear, as soon as you can negotiate with them in the next, hopefully, few months to 6 months at most, you come back, this is where we think it's going to go, this is where we anticipate it's going to go, and then once you're ready to do site work, show it on the plan, present it to us, and then you'll be good to go and no problem.
But we want it like completed within the year.
Yes.
Yep.
Like,
No, that'll
work out this
absolutely be no
process.
problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, we intend to be up and running pretty quickly in this location.
Oh,
We are hoping to be able to do a little bit of a phased approach where we have the actual activity side open prior to the restaurant side, due to the time frame of liquor licensing and all of that, as well as doing all the exterior work. We're probably looking at springtime to be fully functioning. I don't know if that's something you guys have any objection to or any questions in regards.
I don't think it impacts
No.
us. What you do for phasing, I don't think it matters. Because like I said, we don't deal with the inside of the building. We deal with where you guys going to park, which predominantly is going to be across the street at the parking garage.
Yep.
Because I assume, with the exception of nighttime, I assume New View has those spaces already used, correct?
Very rarely, but yeah.
Right, well, but you know what I mean. I mean, technically they're accounted for, although they're quite often open. But for the purposes of what we're doing, we're going to assume that most of your parking is in the parking garage across the street.
Correct.
And they're walking just across the street to get there. Piece of cake.
I think it's great that you guys have decided to choose downtown.
Yeah.
You bring a little bit of life and excitement to that
Exactly.
corner that's been
Yeah,
vacant for so
sure.
long.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. So I worked for MedStar for 8.5 years and stuff like that, servicing the city, and I don't really ever remember anything really in that area.
Right. Well, there's been things in the past, but not.
It's been a long time.
Recent years, I guess I should
It used
say.
to be a club.
I know the history of JR's Karma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like I said in the beginning, I would love to have you fit out that space beautifully and make it an attraction for the area. And again, my main concern, and the thing that I look at the most is how it looks, how people are going to see it from the outside.
What
And
do-
I have confidence that you're going to do a nice job with that.
What time frame for the exterior? Because we need to put some timelines on.
That would
Soon
be
as the weather's warm enough.
weather
So within a
permitting.
year.
Within a year.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I mean, full project completion anywhere inside, outside.
We always
We're
like to give
talking
people a
where-
buffer for
Yeah,
a
just
lot
don't
of different
wanna
reasons.
Patch everything in and then
Those
not
site
be able to
plans
paint.
are good for, you have a year to like start the site, to start it. But typically, there's no end date. But we like to put end dates on because what happens is it goes 8 years and someone's supposed to put a fence up and it doesn't happen. And we need to fall back on something as a timeline to say, yeah, there's going to be a completion date on something. So we just want to be a reasonable expectation that it's when the project's going to be completed, so it's not unfinished.
Just I guess a procedural question. I assume, so on the site plan on the floor plan I have up there, you obviously have the door that goes to the garage, common area utility space. This must be where you're keeping all your materials?
In a way, so there's a big open space at the front of the building. That's
Yeah.
going to be our primary storage area.
Okay.
We also, on our house, we have a couple barns
Nice.
that we, some overflow items or stuff.
I was just, the reason why I ask is I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, you got event space, kitchen, bar, rage room, axe throwing. Like, I can't think of a spot where you put things, but I just want to make sure you have a space to put them. My concern, the board's concern primarily would be, we don't ever want a situation where stuff's piling up outside. Right.
Yeah, no.
And that's going to be a permit condition, that there can't be stuff outside. You can't
as
have,
it should.
TVs and whatever
Yeah.
else that are just hanging out outside. So that's, as long as you have a plan, that's all that matters.
Nice bathrooms, yeah. What are your, just because I don't know, how does the Rage Room actually work? Do you have any, like, cameras? Do you, like, just, in the room, you're good for 15 minutes and then we let you out again?
So it's more based upon the amount of items you're actually smashing is how it's designed. We do it in 1 hour windows, allowing time for setup, cleanup, safety briefing. We have a complete separate safety room for face shields, gloves, suits, all of that. It's really setting a full vibe is an experience. Anyone can smash stuff anywhere, but doing it in a safe, executed way where, it's controlled and all of that, it really is a change of experience. So once you get your safety gear on, we have shelves in the rage rooms where you pick out the items you're going to smash based on whatever package you booked. Go crazy.
Oh. So is there, like, supervision?
In a way. So you're always in a visual area. We do have everything is monitored
Okay,
currently
so
and
it's-
stuff like that.
There's kind of-
This way, all of them will be designed with open air so that from where the actual employees are, you can always see into all of the rooms.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering how that,
The DJ booth used to be, we thought it'd be
Chins.
cool for the employees to be able
Oh,
to go
now you
up
can
there
just look
to
down.
watch and see what's going on, and so we thought that would be
That's right, 'cause
really
that was
cool
higher
it's like the
thing for
perch at the
employees,
market
yeah.
basket.
We have lots of different packages and
Nice.
all sorts of stuff. so.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you for explaining that, because I was just trying to differentiate. So, and each location has its own room? Each of the 3 units has a room, or is it just one room?
No. So where Club Karma actually once was, 20 Putnam Street, that'll be more of where your activities actually are. And then 16, 18 are more seating, bar, food preparation.
Okay, further you get away from
Being able to host live events
Okay.
down the road and such like that. The idea is, get people in the city and keep them in the city a little longer. Right now, we're finding most of our customers that are traveling a long distance are stopping right by Route 2 to go get dinner and get drinks after and spending money in other cities. And I want it here.
Yeah,
Why not
100%. Yep.
Thank you. Well, I think you're going to fill a niche for sure. Definitely a need. With some nightlife.
And I mean, where we've been for over a year, it's definitely proven that there's a strong demand.
That's great.
And people are very willing to travel for it, so it's going to be a great asset to the downtown.
That's why we
area.
looked for a bigger spot. We didn't think it would take off as much as it did. And right now, we're only in, 1,300 square feet, and this is going to triple our space, so we're excited.
Other new restaurants downtown, new one directly across the street that's going to be hopefully at some point soon. So very, very good. I'm very excited. Very excited. Yeah.
We thank you for your enthusiasm and your efforts. This is good. Now, public hearing, any public comment? Anybody virtual?
Nope. But I did want to take this time. We have a couple. Hold on. We have a couple.
We have comments from. There are a couple of department comments.
Well, we also have stuff from. Let's see. We can read the DPW comments if you want. I didn't even look at them, to be honest with you. Hold on.
I think it was just a standard comment.
I assume, yeah. Please reach out to sewer, water, engineering respectively. Plans should show proposed utility services for units. Are there already water sewer connections there? Is that something?
There's no alteration to them either. There's existing bathrooms and all of that are fully operational.
It does say services will require for applying and paying of service fees. Please reach out to each department respectively. I would just, so that you're not surprised, reach out to them and say, this is what we're doing. Piping for services should be sized accordingly. Bonded contractor working within the right of way. I, again, assume from this conversation you're not doing anything within the right of way. Do you have to do a sprinkler system or add one, or is there one there?
No, there is an existing one that was recently serviced, as far as I know.
Okay, because it does say fire department for application of fire suppression system in service, probably going to be sized accordingly, but it sounds like you'll have a lot of that stuff already. I would just, like I said, just verify if that's what you want to do.
I think there was another.
Is there any way for me to access the comments that you're referring to?
These are right online.
You can either go to the planning board link in our page and click meeting materials, click the day and your thing, and they're in there, or you can have Chantel send it to you.
Yeah, I send them or they're online, so.
If you could send them for me, that would be greatly appreciated, just so I do have them for.
I have a letter from the building owner here. I'm the owner of record for the property. I entered into a lease agreement. He has my permission and support to submit an application. That what I was looking for. Oh, I guess it's not uploaded. I'll pull up my email. Councilor Van Hazinga sent us an email to Paula and I and a few other people right before the meeting.
It might be in the other TOSI folder. It's in the TOSI folder. It's in there.
Oh, they're both in there? Okay.
He's just uploaded it because he made the comment for both on one page.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right.
So if you look in the next meeting materials, you can read that.
Yep.
The public comments towards the bottom.
What's that?
Towards the bottom, public comment.
Oh, that's the one it was? Oh, okay. Yep. So this is from Councilor Van Hazinga, the Ward 4 Councilor. Let's Rage, 480 Main Street. This is a new business in Fitchburg that has been successful and has outgrown their existing space. Exactly the problem we want to help solve. The city recently completed a downtown consumer market study that identified significant demand for commercial recreation uses downtown. This project is well located between two parking garages and will transform a long vacant space into another active use downtown. It will benefit the city to facilitate their move into this downtown space. So, aside from that, I didn't see any other public comment. No one's got hands raised. If you're ready to move forward, I am.
All right. There's no further public comment. Board have enough information.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion's been made to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Discussion?
No, I'm good. Make a motion to approve the site plan for Let's Rage, proposed commercial indoor recreation facility with restaurant, lounge, and entertainment areas located at 480 Main Street, subject to providing dumpster screening to be shown on the plan and completed within 1 year of the site plan approval, no trash or material storage outside of the dumpster, and the exterior to be painted within the next 12 months, construction to start in the next 12 months and end within the next 18 months, 2 years? Or we can do year and year, I don't care.
Can you
Well,
change
they-
the word
the-
painted to improved?
It already allows 1 year to start, so it's just when.
So it's just 1 year from completion? That's fine. It sounds like they'll be well done by then, or you can do 18 months. Either way, it's fine. I don't think it's going to matter.
So is it 18 months? I'm sorry, I didn't quite
Let's
hear.
let's just do one
A year.
and 2.
Oh, okay.
1 and 2?
What, a year to start?
1 year to start, 2 years to finish. That's fine.
Well, that's that, but we're saying to get these things done.
Yeah.
Still within the year.
You're right, to get the dumpster and screening to be completed within a year. That was already, that was a separate condition. And then you were just talking about to get everything done.
Right.
And that's why I said a year to start, 2 years to finish.
Okay. 1 to 2 year finish. 1 year's on the dumpster screening.
And then Peter just suggested that exterior to be painted in spring, to change the wording to exterior to be
Painted/improved.
Painted and
They were
improved.
saying they're going to do some metal work and some improvements to the outside.
Yep, I got no problem with that.
Painted
And improved. Yep, that's fine.
a year. And then the fencing.
Yeah, to be shown on the plan. What it should say is to be shown on the plan as soon as possible, and then to be completed, ideally, to be completed within the next year.
Plan, submit.
You can even take that same one I had up there
And
and
just
just
mark it up.
show where it's going to be on that.
Right.
Just so we have something in paper to
That's
show
a
where it is.
conversation I'll have with
And then
Mark
just
as
write
well.
the material on it. This is going to be this material. This is where it's going.
Yep.
From our last conversation between Mark and I, it was pending on their engineering department still.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Informal Bay.
It was.
Was a formal motion with a second from Amanda? Second from Amanda. Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
Our last hearing this evening, we have special permit and site plan modification 2023-2, Watch Us Grow LLC, proposal to add an additional residential unit on the first floor to a 4-unit multifamily located at 298 to 300 Main Street in the IB district.
Paul is on.
He's on.
Paul, I just unmuted you. You're welcome to talk and do what you'd like to do.
Great, Paul. Any chance at upgrading me to a panelist?
Yeah,
Is that possible?
absolutely. Hold on 1 second.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Bye, Mary Jo. Okay. You are now. And if you want the screen, I'll stop sharing and you can just, I don't know if you've done it before, bottom of the screen, you can just do share and then pick a screen that you want to share.
Perfect, that sounds great. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present tonight. We're here today to ask for a modification for the special permit that was approved for 298 to 300 Main Street back on March 28th. So we're here to present a plan to put a residential unit on the second floor facing Boulder Drive, and that's directly behind the commercial storefront. We're pleased to let you all know an update. Since your approval on March 28th, we have secured a 3-year lease with Bonfire Books, a local great Fitchburg business. It's been in the area for a while. Bonfire Books is going to be moving into our storefront facing the main street. And it took about 18 months to find a great match for that commercial space. We're thrilled with the tenant match. But ideally, they were looking for a smaller storefront. We heard this from multiple tenants. They were looking for, based on the layout of the building, a more manageable space. And they were looking for somewhere between 700 and 800 square feet. And again, this was the feedback. So in order to sign that 3-year lease, we had to shrink down the storefront, and now we're left with essentially some vacant space behind it. And I just want to just quickly share a quick diagram of what we're talking about specifically for a visual. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, can everyone see this okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent. So this storefront's going to be fully restored. We're going to sand down the wood, restain the wood, have great signage here, and the storefront's going to be leased by Bonfire Books on the first floor facing Main Street. And then what we're here tonight to ask permission for is this second story here facing Boulder Drive. There's a small space back there, around 800 to 900 square feet, that would be a phenomenal match for a residential unit. And from a floor plan layout standpoint, it works really well. Our trash is actually going to be stored here in the basement inside the building. And obviously, the parking spaces in front are for commercial tenants only. And so there's plenty of parking just up the street at the Mill Street garage. And we're going to work with City Hall, and keeping with the same special plan or special permit approval, we're going to be working to get looks like Alex just raised his hand. Sorry, Alex, would you like to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have to recuse myself from this.
Yep, no
Oh,
worries.
yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Excellent.
you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. So, just quickly on the layout here, and then we'll get to parking. Just layout, so entrance to the commercial storefront is here on the left, going to be ADA compliant. This is the commercial space that was requested by Bonfire Books, spec'd out to match what they need. There's a corridor down to the basement where tenants will be able to bring trash and store inside the building. And then we have a spot for a residential unit on the second story facing Boulder Drive behind the commercial storefront. And we're within 578 feet of parking at the Mill Street garage, and are working with City Hall right now to get those residential parking passes that we talked about in the last meeting on the 28th. So in keeping with that same approval criteria, obviously the commercial tenant is the priority there facing Main Street, and making sure that all that parking is reserved for commercial patrons, not residential.
You're even closer to the lower part of that garage. If you go from your front of your building down Cushing to Boulder, I bet you're even much less than 500.
Actually, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, that's a great point, Paul. Yeah, that's
yep, that's right there. Because I think that's where I think the parking permits are on the lower level.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that definitely we should update this diagram.
No, it's okay. You don't have to update it. I was just making a point.
Yeah. And ultimately, just thrilled to announce too, we're well underway. It's been a significant investment. The building's been vacant for a while, but pleased to report that we have a sprinkler system that's on its way to being fully outfitted throughout the whole building. So because it's a mixed-use facility, commercial and residential, we've got the sprinkler tied in properly, and we've got building permits in hand for the second and third floors. Well underway on construction there, and you can just see the beauty of the building. I mean, exposed brick on the inside, wonderful hardwood floors, and there's just so much potential with this awesome building. And so our goal is to really maximize the needs of the commercial tenant facing Main Street, but then still utilize that back space facing Boulder Drive. So we'll open it up to the planning board for questions, and thank you for the opportunity to brief.
Well, can you just tell me what the size of the commercial space is and the size of the new residential unit?
Yes, so the commercial space is around 700 square feet, and then the residential unit is around 800 to 900 square feet. There's common area corridor, and I've got our head of construction on here as well, Alex Dillon, who I don't know if Paul, I don't know if you can allow Alex to join too, just in case there's other construction questions.
He can speak whenever he wants to.
Okay, beautiful. But yeah, you can see here, this space right here is 700 And then the back, we've got, you've got some common area taken up by this corridor. So the back is 800.
Okay. And you're still, like, you already started work on the exterior on the rear, so you're going to be, just reiterating, going back over, you're going to be painting the entire back, like the backside and the fire escape,
Correct. Yep.
fixing that little
Correct.
strip of landscaping that's there, or either the landscaping or continuing with the pavement,
Sidewalk.
Correct. Yep. The sidewalk. Yep.
to that. Is it just utility on the first floor? It's just like on the Boulder side, because I think, did you just replace that with a steel door?
Yeah, so actually what's exciting down in that basement, there's going to be enough room for bike storage. There's going to be trash down there, mechanical, but there might even be additional beyond bike storage, just other small storage facility, small storage areas for the tenants in the building. So we've opened it up completely, and there's plenty of extra space now. There's going to be a staff bathroom also for the commercial tenant. They'll have a key to that, private access. Yeah.
I guess I didn't expect that it was just going to be a steel door. I thought something would be a little bit more attractive on the backside at that. Maybe that, I don't know if that was just temporary, because it could be like some wall lighting around the doorway or something to kind of give it a little bit of an aesthetic on that side.
Oh, definitely. This is a temporary.
Right.
Everything you see
Set up
here.
there.
Yeah. This is temporary.
Yeah, it's just
That
kinda like
wasn't
the
shown.
final
Is that the one in that picture right there, Paula?
Yeah, the one in the.
Is that what you're talking about? The one in that picture? No. Oh.
This door.
Oh,
right here.
okay. So I was looking at the picture you just had, the new picture you just had of your sidewalk, and it has a new door where your cursor is.
Exactly. So that's where the sprinkler system is entering the building. Mechanicals down there. So we have a temporary door there. That's definitely not a permanent.
Okay.
It's just so.
Is the other entrance going to be more decorative on the right up to that, where the in and out, or is that the utility door to the left?
Let me see if we can get Alex. Can you hear us okay on your end?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Okay, yeah. So we went downstairs. There are two doors. You are correct. The one on the left, if you're looking at it facing Boulder, right, or looking at the building off of Boulder, the one on the left is the one that's temporary right now that we just threw in to secure the building.
Yep.
That's where the the suppression system came in, the new domestic water line came in. The one on the right, we haven't changed it yet either, because we haven't done anything in the basement except demo. So both of those doors will be changed out to something better, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, it was just kind of the expectation, because it's like you want to see, like, we just approved some, I know, apartments across on Blossom there, so.
Cushing.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Cushing.
Blossom in
I
Maine?
meant to say the Drury Building is what I meant to say. Yes, diagonal across the street.
Diagonal across the street, and they're putting in some like wall lighting and a little bit decorative on the doors. Again, those are kind of residential entrances, but since this is going to be like a residential kind of a building, even though it might not be their main entrance, it kind of gives a flair.
Definitely.
Rather than just looking at, a blank door and, a wall pack light.
Definitely, yeah. These are temporary right now, and the goal is to really make the exterior of the building, really look substantially better than it is right now.
It's like, ooh, I want to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. What's your timeline? Still.
So we're under. That's another one that I'll pass to our head of construction.
Is that the only modification we're looking at for the permit? Is just adding this?
That's it. Yeah, that's the only thing that's left. We're ready to go besides that, and well on our way on the second and third floors right now. So, Alex, on timeline, we're thinking, summertime, roughly. Is that? I don't want to.
No, you're good, Paul. Yeah. So we're anticipating this thing being. We're starting the framing portion of this project in about 2 to 3 weeks. And then we have about 8 to 12 weeks to get that all under control. I believe our commercial tenant wants to be in right around April to May timeline, right, Paul?
Right. That's correct.
So our intention is to have this thing up and running May to June at the latest.
All right. Do any board members have any questions?
Pretty well set?
All right.
No, I'm good.
Oh, good. Any department comments on this one? Modification? This is a modification.
I mean, we can
Not so
keep,
much.
we can keep the time frame we have in the original permit. That was from March, and it was 24 months to start, 3 years to
Okay,
complete.
so they're well within the,
Yeah, those were the timelines on the original permit. So even now, even this being 9 months later, you still gives you 2 years and change, so that should be plenty.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in good shape. I think it's going to be really in a great spot by the summertime. And just can't thank the planning board enough for just the chance to get started on it and get the momentum that we have now. And the project, I think, is going to be a great addition to Main Street. There's a lot of activity, a lot of awesome things going on, but we're really excited about 298 to 300 Main.
Great, thanks, Paul. Make a motion to close the public hearing.
motion's been made to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Discussion?
Just a procedural question, because that was my fault. Did we take public comment? I don't think that there is any, but did we?
It was a good.
So having
Wait,
just
before-
recently.
I know we closed the hearing. We could just, we'll say.
You can reopen
we'll
it.
just reopen it.
Yes.
It's like, before we have
Just-
any discussion, it's like, we're going to reopen the hearing. So let's take a vote to reopen the hearing.
Yeah.
And we all vote to reopen the hearing. Everybody, say aye in
Aye.
favor, and
Second.
Yep.
oppose if you're not.
Yep. You're good.
We're good.
So
All right.
now just
Any
ask.
public comment, and is there anybody online?
Because we do
Virtual check
still
there.
have a couple people that are online, so although for those that are online that can't see the audience, there's no one here. That's why I didn't think twice about it. All right, no one, so I'll make a motion to close the public
Okay.
hearing again.
Motion's been made to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Okay, now discussion.
Okay, no, I'm
It wasn't
good.
too late. We caught it. I'm good.
I'm good.
With the back.
Make a motion to approve the special permit and site plan modification to permit 2023-2, proposal to add an additional residential unit on the first floor to a four-family multifamily located at 298 to 300 Main in the IB district. I would just say,
And maintain the 700 square foot commercial in the front.
yep. Obviously, what I was just going to say, yeah, according to the floor plans, but yes, maintain the commercial space on the Main Street side, which is the principal reason for why they're in front of us, and the other permit conditions shall carry over. I don't know if you wanted to say anything in the permit about the exterior doors to the rear. I think they're on the same page as us
I
as
think
far as
so,
making
yeah.
them
Yeah, I
look
think
nice.
so.
My biggest concern for this one has always been that fire escape, which I think we covered in the first one. But aside from that, they showed us where they park. That's my motion.
Second.
A motion's been made with the second.
Yep.
2 seconds? Who's got it? Tracy?
Doesn't matter. Whoever they want to write down.
All right. Roll call vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say opposed. Alin?
Aye.
Alex?
He's recused.
Oh, he's
Oh,
recused.
that's right. Alex is recused. Sorry. Amanda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Tracy?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Paula? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Paul.
so much.
Paul, thank
Can't
you.
thank
That's an
all-
exciting project.
Perfect.
Yep.
Can't thank you all enough for your support. We're really excited about the future, and look forward to hopefully bringing more projects your way like this one. But a long way to go before we finish. But thank you for your support.
Thanks, Paul. All right.
All right, we have other business this evening, and we got a request to continue for Revolutionary Clinics was going to provide us an update on the odor mitigation, but they're still getting some materials together, so we will have them on either our next or January agenda for their update.
It has not been getting better, for the record.
I
And
agree.
I don't know if they know that. I can't say for certain it's been getting worse, but I feel like yesterday was really bad. So I don't know. It definitely hasn't been getting better, let's put it that way. And
Can we get, maybe, can They requested that, yes, they're not ready, but find out when we can get them back on.
They said they would like to come back in December.
Excellent.
Yeah, I uploaded the email they sent just in.
Yes, it's in the other
It's
business.
in there,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, I can pull it.
Folder.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
yeah, I read it earlier.
I'm
Oops.
reading so many documents, it's all
Hold on.
blending together. And then we already dealt with the large-scale solar facility on Shea Street, just an extension for the hearing. Which would be 90 days from today's meeting, anytime between the 90 days to try to schedule that.
I was going to pull it up, but the Revolutionary Clinic's email is actually not the right document. It brings up
South Street.
It brings up South Street. It brings up the one single-story approved building on South Street. So anyway, it's fine.
Fix the folder later.
There was a lot.
It's fine. We got the gist of it. They can't be here. Chantal, I do think that if you have a phone conversation with them, or even email, if you just tell them that, that it continues to be an issue. I actually have on my list of things to do, and I've had it for the last month or two, and I just keep forgetting, is I want to send an email to the CCC and just say, out of curiosity, in general, how are odor complaints handled on the state side? Because I'm curious. Because this obviously it's the biggest one we have, but it's not the only complaint that I get. Every once in a while I get a complaint in West Fitchburg. The old chem design, the one in the back.
Yeah.
Mass patient.
The one on Industrial Road?
The one all the way in the back that you can't see from the street.
So the other day when I was going towards
Yeah.
Monty Tech, I smelled, and I didn't know where.
I was told
other
by
than the other smell.
There's
in
one
that
near
area,
Monty
but-
Tech as well.
Unsubstantiated, uncorroborated, but I was told by someone that works at Ethos that it's not Ethos, that it's Mass Patient, or I can't remember if it's Mass Patient. You know what I'm talking about. All the way in the back, you drive to the end of Industrial Road, or is that Authority Drive? That's Authority Drive. You drive to the end of Authority Drive, and it's a dead end. And I believe they had open air grow there.
I think it's Apotheca.
It might be now, yeah. So anyway, I was told that I get complaints about them every once in a while, but it's not consistent. The One Oak Road is almost every day. If the Ward 2 counselor doesn't call me about that, or we don't have a conversation about that, then I drive past it every day, so I smell it too, so.
Yeah, I don't have to go that way anymore.
Yeah, it's strong.
Could you also refresh our memory?
Yeah.
They submitted something about the timeline for when that's supposed to be completed, so.
I think the last time they were before you, they were giving you a year, and so that was this past summer. So we're well within like 3 or 4 months after the fact. So I think you're well within your right to ask when they're ready to start doing something about it.
Are we still talking about One Oak Road?
having them before us.
One Oak Road, last time they were in front of us, they said the spring. They said they were waiting on the mechanical systems for the multi-million-dollar thing, and it was going to be April, May. That's my recollection.
Right, and I think their email, they're saying they were trying to get a contractor, and they're having a hard time getting it started or something like
Paul, we have
that.
a hand raised.
So.
Oh, thank you.
So hopefully we'll get more information.
Our assistant city solicitor has a hand raised.
One more thing, and then we also want to get the update for the windows. They were supposed to provide us with like some type of materials. We did not want to do the fake ones that were, we kind of got away with on the ground floor, on the level off of Oak Hill Road scenario. So it's kind of like we need an improvement, and they haven't provided anything
No, nothing yet.
for that. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Attorney Pollack, you're welcome to speak when you're ready.
Thank you. I just wanted to let you know I represent one of the boards I represent in the city is the Board of Health, and they had concerns because last September they had cited them. It was August or September, and they were given a plan, a 6-month plan for them to put in this remediation system. So I see that you're aware of that time frame, but and now we're 14 months out from when that plan was originally submitted, and the new time frame that they've submitted to you calls for a year. So that would bring it essentially to 2 years from when the Board of Health first cited them. They were also cited again this September by the Board of Health. The Board of Health takes the complaints, and then they go out and sort of check it out themselves and confirm that what they're being told is true. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, because I didn't want the meeting pushed out too far, because I know that the Board of Health feels like there needs to be a plan in place
Could you provide the document about the timeline from the Board of Health so that we make sure we're all on the same page? So if they've been directed by another department to do something, we want to make sure we can kind of work on the same.
I mean, it's also
timeline
amazing that
with
we've
too.
never heard about this
Yeah,
before. I
so we've
appreciate
been-
you being here, Attorney Pollock,
We've
but
been asking a lot. We've been saying, call the Board of Health, log complaints, but then we don't get any complaints.
not only that, I know Steve Curry knows that Paul Boschman and I have been on
Mostly
this
a-
for 2 years, a year and a half now. So I appreciate you telling us, but it's the first I've heard of it, which is amazing.
Well, I'm glad people are logging complaints, but it's like it would be helpful so we can bring that back to them. I mean, in the end, we can call back the special permit and add it in. We can amend the permit and add in a condition for them to comply with.
So what happens is I have a meeting with them every week, and we talk about different things. And this only came up for me this year, and I believe that the inspector, Matthew Bernard, was indicating that they had told him last year the 6 months. I can provide you with all the documentation on that, and I believe that the Board of Health can also provide you with copies of the complaints that come in through C-Click-Fix. So that you would be able to see that. I know that in the future going forward, one of our plans and what we've talked about was when the new host agreements are written, we're going to, well, the new administration is coming in, but the goal going forward for us was to have a remediation requirement written right into the host agreement. So hopefully going forward, that will be in there.
We've actually started to, whenever we have applicants in front of us for permits that exist, when we've been modifying permits, we've been modifying them to include odor mitigation plans.
Oh, that's great. So we're all on the same page with this.
Yeah.
Then.
We've gotten serious with it within the last 6 months, but it's something we've been following closely for. I mean, the Ward 2 counselor's been. He's let me know it's got to be at least a year or two consistently, and I know he was telling me that he stopped complaining to Steve Curry just because he thought we had it under control, but I didn't think the Board of Health was involved at all. So I'm glad to hear that. It's something I think we need to start tackling.
Now that these facilities are getting more into operation and we're getting like these complaints, we want to make sure there should be zero odor coming from these facilities.
Exactly.
And that's how they billed it when they came in and said, you're not even going to know that we're here scenario.
Yep.
And so we have to hold them to that. But we'd like to know if there's complaints from other facilities too, let us know that, because they're operating off of special permits and we can have them come in for, consultation and or amendment for the permits with more timelines to fix issues if they're not willing to do them.
Perfect.
On an
I'll
expedited
mention that
timeline.
this Thursday at our meeting. I'll make sure that all the inspectors know that their complaints should be forwarded to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's not for us to, we're not calling people back on
Not the
them, like
complaints.
forward, but
I
just
mean,
to
the
provide a list,
citations
how
issue.
many or which area of town or, which facilities, so we know which facility we can reach out to and say, you need to come back in front of the board and address this.
I misspoke. I meant the citations issue.
Yeah, and that's also something. I mean, obviously, you being the assistant city solicitor, something that you and I think Vinny, I wanted to kind of explore with you is, aside from the stuff that we're going to do, that we've been doing, what else should we be doing? And then on top of that, is it something that should we just escalate it to the state and say, listen, these are issues we've been having. Let the CCC deal with it. I mean, that's what they have a lot more staff than we do. That's why I want to know. I want to send them an email and at least know what their policy is for these complaints, because they have to have a black and white policy for odor mitigation.
Yeah, I can inquire with them and find out for you.
Yeah, just whatever we can do to solve these, because, I mean, particularly Claygon's a problem, so.
I
If
agree.
you have verbiage and things we can use to update, we will do that.
And if-
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here tonight.
All right, you have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And last on our agenda,
Got it up there.
oh, thank you. Yeah, we've got to move a couple dates around. So September 24th is highlighted because
It's
what's
my
happening?
birthday.
That's exactly why.
We're going to go
And
to
we
the
can't
rage,
do
we're
it.
going to the rage.
No,
room.
it's,
Yeah.
We're going
We're
to
going
the
to take
rage
Paula
room.
to the rage room for a minute.
that's the primary day, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And we can't have a planning board meeting on a primary.
Yes, and like it has to do with the election, so
Yep.
we're going to have to,
Yep, that's a primary day, and for whatever ridiculous reason, you can't have public meetings on the day of an election.
the phone.
So we got to move that day.
September. I guess we're going to move it and then find a room after, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's far enough in the future. We'll have to figure out when we get closer as far as the room. Which, I mean, we can book.
We can do this the week before on the 17th.
There's a calendar for City Hall, right? Does it go that far in the future?
We just use Outlook, so I
Okay.
could probably still reserve it even
Perfect.
that far ahead.
Yeah. Week before, it doesn't matter. So far in the future, I don't really care. Week before,
It brings it to the 3rd,
17th.
The 17th.
Yep.
which makes up for, August are probably going to be, mixed up. We have vacations and everything, some who never knows what's going on.
So that's what we want to do the week before? That's fine with me. Anyone have a problem with that?
Well, it's either that or the Thursday after that, but then we have issues with Thursdays for folks, so
That's fine.
didn't know whether or not, so far in the future, whether or not we do a Thursday. Is Thursday okay for people? Is Alex back? Alex, are you back?
He's sleeping.
Alex is not.
Yeah, I'm back.
All right.
Couldn't get the mute off.
All right. So on our September date, because it's a primary, we can't have it on that Tuesday. We could even we can have it on that Thursday on the 26th, or we can have it the week before.
I'm good with the week before. Most Thursdays are difficult for me.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Well, it's the 17th.
it's fine.
That's fine.
Three weeks.
Yep.
It's fine. The only thing that complicates those is you lose a week for filing.
It does.
But
Kind of shortens up some things.
Is there another Tuesday in September that time? Or?
well, you either go the week before or the week after. The week after is just that much closer to October. So you run into this. Either you run into the issue August to September, or you run into the issue
Week
September to
after is
October.
October 1st, so then you have the 1st, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well,
That's
there are
exact-
5 Tuesdays in October.
But it's exactly the same. It's if it's on the 1st, there's 3 weeks after. So it works out the exact same.
Oh, the 22nd.
Well, don't murder me now, but how about sometimes we just have to meet more than once a month?
So you beat me to it. We Paul and I have been talking about having an alternative day where we kind of put it in everyone's calendar and say, like, this, so the ZBA does the second Tuesday and that Thursday, or I forget what it is. They have 2 days on their calendar. And they, from what I gather, rarely meet the second one, but it's there in case they need it. So I've floated that idea. Paul and I have talked about that in the past, about maybe just penciling something in and saying, hey, if it has to be whatever, another Tuesday, or what people keep pushing is Thursday, because this room's open most Thursdays. If we have that day and we get 6 out of 7 or 5 out of 7, at least we might be able to have a meeting and carry on with something that could be time sensitive. I mean, Paul and Chantel know how hard it is to last minute schedule a meeting. It's just
Hard.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't work. It's between finding a room and then getting everyone on the same page. It's very difficult. So my suggestion would be to have an alternative date. At least my initial suggestion would be every other month you just set,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be every month either.
fourth
It's like
Tuesday,
every
fourth
other
Thursday.
month
It
we
just
could
gives you a
have
chance to, A, catch up.
Sometimes,
Or
yeah.
B, if you have, if you have issues. And again, it's, ideally, it's far enough in the future where if you have something else to do, okay, as long as 5 or 6 of us don't, then great.
We should do something like that.
It's been enough
So
of
I
a
don't
problem
know
where I
that when
agree.
we say continue something, somebody's going to be ready in 2 days to come up with something.
No, but I think that's why we have it penciled
I think
in.
maybe doubling up Tuesdays might help too.
We can do
Like
it a
if
different,
Yeah.
just a different week, a different Thursday or something. So that says we're going to do minutes. We're going to do, actually, speaking of minutes, we do have a set of minutes.
Housekeeping kind of
So,
stuff,
for the,
yeah.
okay, so how about this?
plans or
For the sake of what we've been talking about, we keep our regular meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month. We have a penciled-in emergency opening the third Tuesday of every month, and that solves the issues. So September, that obviously would be a mandatory one because we wouldn't be able to do it the 24th. It would be the same in December because we're not doing it on Christmas Eve.
Right.
And we just, we keep our calendar that way, that we have third and fourth Tuesday, where every month it's going to be the fourth Tuesday except for September and December because of the issues. And then the other ones are, in the rare occasion where we need another meeting, I would guess maybe twice over the course of a year.
Right.
We have it already penciled in and.
But wouldn't it just be the issue
Paul and Paul,
of
sorry to
space?
interrupt.
Well, we'd have to, third Tuesday would be City Hall, the fourth Tuesday would be here.
Would it make sense to do maybe have that option maybe once a quarter where we double up a Tuesday? That way, if there's carryover.
Yeah, I think the problem is we can never predict when we're going to need those days. So if we at least, everyone makes an attempt to not schedule things if they can on a Tuesday, the third and fourth Tuesday.
Or it could even be on a, I don't know, Alex, would you be, maybe even well, you already hybrid. It's we could do a hybrid Thursday or something like that. So we can say, hey, we've got a hybrid on
Generally speaking, they could.
Thursday or something.
Yeah, they could all be hybrid if you want.
It could probably, I can do Zoom on a Thursday.
That option's always available.
You could Zoom on a
most part.
Thursday?
I can do Zoom on Thursdays. I think that might give me some leeway.
If you're doing that, you do second Thursday, fourth Tuesday.
Right.
Because that gives you an even gap between all our
We
meetings.
just don't want to be scheduling, that's not, and I'll just say, wouldn't be really scheduling hearings as much for Thursday, for that. That's really
No.
more other stuff, because we can't interfere with the schedule that Chantel's trying to put together and all the advertising and everything.
Like I said, we're only talking about penciling it in for once or twice a year. We're not talking about creating a situation where every month we're doing 2 meetings, because no one wants that.
No.
Okay, yeah,
we all
that
have
was
enough
my
on our
concern.
plate to
It's
deal
I'm
with
not doing
that.
this every month, right? I can a couple of times a year I can wiggle
Yeah.
that through, but I don't know if I could do every month.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone would expect that, Alex. So so that would be my suggestion, just to change this to have the normal meeting dates the way they are. Obviously, September and December have to change. Third Tuesday in September, third Tuesday in December. And then we just add a note at the bottom of this saying, the planning board leaves open the possibility for additional meetings under certain circumstances on the second Tuesday of every month, the second Thursday of every month. And you just leave it. You don't put it on a calendar so that people expect that we're going to be there. It's just, if we run into a meeting and we say, we have to do this, we can't wait, 35 days to do this.
Or we don't even have to say that. We can just say we reserve to, add additional times.
I suppose it only matters that the
there.
board members know it. I don't
Right,
care if it's
right.
on the actual
Yeah, because
meeting
we
date.
don't want people to be like, oh,
Yeah,
why
we
don't
can
you meet
have
on
it
this
Thursday.
day?
You can do the second
Yeah, why don't you
Thursday.
do the second Thursday for this one?
So as long as, I would agree with that, as long as the board members are okay that if we have to call a special meeting, it would most likely be the second Tuesday of the month, second Thursday of the month. I keep saying that. Second Thursday of the month.
Right now, that works for me.
I honestly, most of the time, we're going to know more than 30 days in advance or 15 days. I can make it work. It's not, especially if everyone has the option to do a virtual if they need
And
to.
we can still change it.
Right, exactly, right.
So we'll just say tentatively we can do that, and then it comes down to it to be like, okay, that Thursday's not going to work. How about the Wednesday?
I just want people to pencil something in their calendar so it's easier to
Exactly.
schedule something when we have to. And say, oh, remember when we talked about the second Tuesdays of the month? Let's do that in January.
Yeah, because
Or-
sometimes like the other business takes just as long as the hearings do,
Yeah.
and it becomes very overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah. And I find, although we've been making good time lately, I find that sometimes you get so much on the agenda that, and I know I probably do this more than anyone, I just try and push things so fast.
Yeah.
And I feel bad doing that, but it's the only way we can get stuff done in the night.
I know.
So,
That's exactly it.
so anyway, all right.
I'm up way past my bedtime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
This
All
is
right.
a lot of hearings that we've had, like, what was it last, it was like 12.
Yeah, last month was.
We're like a factory
But we
right
still
now.
got done at 10.
I know.
I'm
Yes.
amazed.
And this time, we have 7, and we're still on, we're like on track, but it's, I'll have to say, Chantel and company have been very good.
Yes.
With really excellent with the materials.
Yes.
To help streamline this, so we can actually, like, and get the department comments, and everything, so we can actually, make decisions and not
Yes.
have to continue so much. So this has been helpful. Look at all the ones that we're getting off the agenda
Right, right.
scenarios. So we'll probably have some larger ones coming up. And we've got CDBG, we got 2 meetings in January.
Oh, yeah, I just put that one on my calendar, so.
Yeah. So we'll see as things go. One appreciates really everyone's participation's important and appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. Flexibility too, for people to make it is important.
And
too,
Michelle, if anybody wants to go out and look at sites, let me know and stuff like that. Can do that. We'll come.
I will, I guess we don't need to do anything. I was going to vote on it. I guess we don't have to. It's not important to, so. as
And
long
you
as
guys said we'll get enough notice to make the adjustments to the schedules, right?
Yes, so the only adjustments you need to know about right now is the third Tuesday in September and the third Tuesday in December.
Yep.
Other than that, the thing that's up on our screen, which will be on the city website, is our actual schedule, if you want to put it in your calendar. And then it's just, if, like I said, the goal of that whole conversation was if everyone can just put a note in your calendars, like I have a recurring note for something else that I do, like I might have a meeting this day, put it in Thursday at 6, and then the second Thursday at 6, and then if we need it, that's the first guess. That's the first option we'll take.
And then we'll see how many people can attend.
Exactly, right. And then we'll just go through the whole process again of picking a different day.
Yep.
Did you want to do minutes?
Yes, we have a set of minutes. Yeah. And we have a new staff, Melissa.
Melissa, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
so we have a
welcome,
new
Melissa.
there's a
I'm
new
not even
minis-
gonna pull
a new
up.
administrative
Does
assistant
anyone
that
want me to-
started with the community development office, and she helped prepare the minutes.
Nice.
And
Does anyone want me to pull them up? Let me say this. Are there any modifications to the minutes? Perfect, because Paul and I already went over them, and they're modified. So unless anyone wants to see them, they're on our Dropbox. We're not going to go through all the changes.
Wait, so you modified them when?
So I did mine 2 days ago, and
Okay.
Paula changed it after
no,
that.
what you
so the
see
one
here
that was
that just
there-
got posted is
Yeah.
the one you, I
That's
think
it.
so.
Okay,
That's it.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
This is the only version that's posted.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I understood. Yeah.
I looked at the draft and tweaked it before it got posted as the draft. For any
Yeah,
further.
I'm fine with
For
it.
any further updates.
I don't see me saying consumer power, but that's okay.
You say it all the time. You say it all the time.
Hey,
say a lot
for
of
the
things,
record, if
so-
you want to hold this off, you can watch it, because that's what I did. And I can tell you, it was a very painful 3 hours. Listen, I told Paula, I was doing my appraisal work, and I literally had it on my computer in the background, and I was listening to the meeting as if some sane person would be listening to music, listening to the meeting, doing my appraisal work, saying,
My
this is
Lord.
terrible. So anyway, you can watch it.
No,
It was
I
an
know,
entirely
no.
virtual meeting.
But I have to say,
Worst podcast ever.
It was something I've already lived that I didn't need to live again.
No, well, that's how I feel. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm sure that sums it up, and
Yeah.
I was probably babbling, so.
Yeah. What'd you say,
Fine.
Paula?
Yeah.
oh, that, I think Melissa, whoever, and
Yes.
put together this, on the minutes, they actually took the pages worth and then condensed it down to this was the feeling of the board and pretty much kind of captured it pretty
Yep.
well. Had issues, with traffic and this and that without going into,
Yeah.
a transcript detail. It was
Right.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Just to summarize it, it was.
I told her to do that.
Yeah. No, I thought for her.
Good job, Chantel.
Great that she was able to conceptualize that.
I
and then
think
put
she
it
did a
down
better
into
job than I would have done, so it's great.
Yeah, I thought especially for the first minutes, it was very well done. So we only had.
She's going to know a lot about these projects.
I will tell her. It'll make her happy.
Yep.
Yeah, don't tell her what I said about consumer power. It's fine. It's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Motion's been made. In a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? Great.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All those in
Second.
favor say aye. With the second? I know. It's going to be a second.
okay. We
And
got it.
so many. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All
Aye.
those opposed? None opposed.
10:02.
Okay.
Great job, folks.